Ladies and gentlemen, very, very happy to have the man who's, I think you've done 12 movies. And I would even go so far as to say 2 of which that I can think off the top of my head were kind of groundbreaking, certainly controversial.
I'm not going to argue with your math. I didn't realize we'd be doing math on this podcast.
Yeah, we're doing math.
12 and 2, I'll take those odds.
Yeah.
2 out of 12 being groundbreaking or even memorable.
Well, but by the way, Clerks, don't please let's take into account. I remember when Clerks came out. And you were kind of at the forefront of this.
Me too. Oh my God.
But it was so good, and the writing was so good, and all of us were like, what the fuck is this crazy movie with these actors nobody knew?
Hopefully was the movie that made people go, oh my God, I could do this. Like, that's the movie that...
It kind of was,
man. Launched 1,000 ships. And whether those ships were seaworthy or not, it's beyond the point. It's the kind of movie you see that makes you go, I want to try that.
Yeah.
And I've seen something like this my whole life, but I've never tried it myself. Punk rock music was kind of the same way. You'd listen to music your whole life, and then all of a sudden you hear music that's so primal and easy to pull out, easy to pull off, but easier than anything you'd heard before. You don't hear the Beatles and go, I could do that, but you hear like God Save the Queen, and you go, I think I might be able to pull that off. And I think Clerks was very much that. It was like the movie that made people go, oh shit, is that where the bar is? So low?
But it was it wasn't low, because here's the difference, and I remember this so clearly. The dialogue was so it was crude, but it was so smart and funny. And so I'm sure everybody's tried it. It's kind of like when The Hangover came out. I probably was offered 100 movies, and in the pitch line was, dude, it's the new Hangover. It's going to be like The Hangover. Is it? Good luck pulling that off.
That's right.
And one of the things that I remember about you is you had an interview about Dogma. Yeah. And I remember how smart and thoughtful you were about it, because you got... there are 2 things. The Chasing Amy, let's start with that, because that's 1997, about a gay woman and a dude in love with a gay woman.
Yeah, written by the most underrepresented gender in cinema, fucking 25-year-old white male.
Yeah.
Story I shouldn't be telling, but now the anniversary just passed, yesterday? It was the 20th anniversary of the movie coming out. And so there have been a few think pieces of like, hey, it's the 20th anniversary, but... does it really hold up? Is it still, and they're like, well, his intent is good and it's a very personal film, but like some of his gender politics are dated. And I'm like, look, I get it. The movie was made 20 years ago.
Yeah,
but
at the time.
That's what I'm saying. At the time, it was like, now maybe it smells like to this generation or whatever, like some fucking mansplaining, Let me tell you about the gay chicks.
I don't think that's fair, though. I think it was... and first of all, let me just say this. I was at the Beverly Hills Playhouse for 10 years, which was an acting class with Jetta Elfman and Giovanni Ribisi, and Neil Simon would sit in, and Burt Reynolds was come in and do scenes, and Doris Roberts was there all the time, and it was just literally, you'd look in and go, I'd be like, oh, I've worked less than everybody in this entire room.
Right.
And Chasing Amy was done as a scene so often
by everyone?
By every actor in the world, that Jeffrey Tambor and Milton Gonzalez, the late Milton Gonzalez, both, Jeffrey Tambor, of course, from Transparent, banned it. They were like, look,
too much.
It's too much. I don't want to see this scene 1,000 times. So whatever you did with that movie had such a deep impact on the acting community, at least. I can just
start a trend, right? Because now it's like, trend. Really? You don't think so? I feel like now it's the cool thing to do.
I feel like there was a time where for a minute we had an idea that was fairly obvious. Like, why don't people just talk in movies the way like they talk to their friends? Like, people cursed in movies and stuff, of course. Eddie Murphy cursed more than enough to fill Beverly Hills Cop with like fuck, motherfucker. But just conversations about like sexual inadequacy or fucking cum. Just introducing the notion of cum.
Fucking cum.
You know what I'm saying? Like that now, it's crazy. I was just on At Midnight last night. And while they don't flat out say cum, they make so many cum jokes. And I do feel a sense of pride in that, where I'm like, I'm not necessarily, I can't say like I built the fucking tower, but I dug the trench a little bit,
trench.
The cum trench I'll take, man. Like if I'm in my grave, they were like, he dug a trench full of cum. My mom's dead. No one will have to explain that to her.
A cum trench. I'm going to start coming into places I don't like and go, who fucking dug this cum trench?
That's a good thing. A cum trench
This place is a cum trench. I'm out of here.
It's the basin of life, dude.
That's just. I'll tell you right now. If I had a kid, that just got accumulated into our vocabulary.
There's a civilization somewhere of women that don't have sex with men, but they just periodically, when it's time to have a child, just drench themselves in the cum trench and then come out impregnated, and they don't need a man anymore.
It's kind of aggressive, Kevin.
Wow, man.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to make a better world.
You got to drench yourself up. You got to drench yourself up in some cum, and then you come out with a kid.
Like the waters of life, you know. Take a shot. I don't know. I'm just trying to make things easier on women.
That makes sense.
I'm looking at Brendan. Brendan, you could pimp yourself out as a baby factory right quick. You'd be the cum trench right there.
I'm the cum trench?
That's the new nickname. The third podcast, Chad with cum trench.
The cum trench and the kid.
You'd get curiosity for the first 2 episodes because people would be like, what do they talk about?
Sponsors would be like, see ya.
People like, why don't you, I hate to complain, but why don't you guys ever talk about cum on cum trench? Like, come on, it's too fucking obvious.
Too obvious, bro. We're talking about political
title,
facts.
bro.
What did you get? Did you get a lot of like?
Let's talk about here before I can get comfortable. Yeah. Let's talk about how I freaked out right before the interview.
Yeah. So you guys should know that Kevin is in my seat because Kevin was like, Kevin goes, wait a minute, I don't sit. We're like, what? He goes, fat guys don't sit. I just want you to know, and also I don't like a profile of my pic. I want to be face on.
That sounds about as aggressive as like dip yourself in a cum trench. I didn't quite say
Get
it
in
like
that cum trench.
But I was definitely like freaked out because I was like, oh my God, I'm sitting. Normally, I'm used to a world of podcasts where there are no cameras. That's why I like podcasts.
Right.
Y'all are fucking thin and cut. And at any given moment in your lives, there's not a bad angle for either of you.
Hold on, stop.
Let me tell you. That's because you're in the cum trench, son.
He's not,
no doubt.
He's not thin. He's
cut. He's fucking cut from God's own wood and shit like that. So even if both of you dudes were like bending over, like picking up something totally naked, there is no bad angle for you. I have to live in a world of constant like, that's a bad angle. That's a bad angle. I don't know what side is good. You know, actors and actresses are always like, this is my good side. I don't know what side of mine is good except straight on the camera.
I don't agree. I think I like a lot of your different
But
angles.
I did. He was very nice about giving me his chair because I was like,
you didn't freak out at all. I thought it was very kind of the way you did it was definitely the way to go. You're
Thank you.
I don't want to sit, man.
You were vulnerable. You endeared yourself to us.
You weren't and then I'm like, oh, God, I don't want to sit either.
For a moment, didn't you both feel
I was there
Hitler?
like,
You're like, I can't believe we've been forcing people the tyranny of sitting.
Chin, turn the video off. He's right.
Well, Brendan will tell you that he has body dysmorphia. I know. Look
what?
I know.
Yeah.
And he's always like, he's very careful what he eats. When he would be in the UFC, he'd be in basically his underwear. And the whole world looking at him, he was always self-conscious of. He'd be like his stomach, he's
tell you something. I wish he was here to talk about it.
Welcome to the cum trench, man. This is my life. He'll tell you how to fight too if you want.
In this episode of Cum Trench
about Bryan, I worked on an episode of the Goldbergs with Bryan, and it's a lifelong journey because every time I see him or anytime I talk to Joe Rogan, I was like, you know, who's brilliant? That dude who was on that episode of News Radio with you once. He's like, he's got a name, Bryan Callen. I was like, yes, that fucking dude is brilliant. And shit. So it took a long time, and then finally I got to work with him on the Goldbergs.
That's
but for
cool,
some
man.
fucking reason, we were chit-chatting for the first like half hour. Everyone he talked about, he'd be like, so this guy's like 42 or something like that. And then the story would go on. He's like, and you know, I'm like 40 whatever. And then he's like, how old are you? Everything had to do with age. And I was like,
age and numbers. Numbers or size.
And size.
All math.
What's your bench?
It'll be a guy
What's your deadlift?
It'll be a guy from high school and be like, bro, this guy ran the ball hard. I'm like, what? How old is he? 50. But in high school, I'm like, I don't give a shit. What he ran the 40 in high school, man?
I'm upset.
Why can't he just be a cool dude?
He's a human obituary, dude. Because like, you know, on an obituary they'll be like Kevin Smith, comma, age 46, comma, succumb to. He just knows everybody's
He's a
fucking
Wikipedia
age.
page.
What is that about?
I take you in. I've always been obsessed with masculinity.
Yes.
In all its glory, its power.
Yes.
When I see a guy,
That cum trench thing must have been very threatening for you.
It was
then.
very threatening.
That's why you felt this
but I have half a heart on. I'll notice weird things that I always did as a kid. So I'll notice like
Can I put my foot on the table?
Of course. I'll look at a guy and I'll see a guy and I assess him very quickly. Brendan sees me doing this all the time.
Drives me nuts, by the way.
Yeah.
Drives me nuts.
Assess meaning like, can I take him?
No, I look at his thighs. What I look at.
He'll obsess over him and call the guy out. So, like, you do live podcasts. We do a live comedy show. We'll have VIP tickets. And if I see a guy in shape, I'll just go, right away, I go, oh, shit.
Because you know it's
And when he comes up, Brian will go, whoa! What do you do? Like CrossFit?
I'm not above.
Do you do CrossFit?
I'm not above actually
Do you
taking
do
a man.
jiu-jitsu? And the guy's like, no,
Yeah.
man, I just work out. I don't know. The guy's like,
I'm not
"God damn
above.
it."
You
I'm
love
not
a
above,
tight body, dude.
I'm not above taking a man in my own hands, like a stranger in my hands, and getting his back between, in my palms. And I do that when I take pictures after shows. I'll put my hand on a guy's back. I did this in San Diego. I went, the hell is this? This is a fucking valley. His girl was there. I go, the fuck do you do? And I started to take his back in with my hand. He just looked at me. He went, I just lift a lot of weights.
Makes
He
people
shuffled
uncomfortable
off.
for sure.
Now it's my turn to have F hard on. This is a very exciting story.
Well, I'll do weird things. Like I'll look at a guy, and the first thing I'll look at is I'll look at his legs, I'll look at his hips, and then I'll look at his neck.
That's
and his
making me
hands.
self-conscious, dude, as a fat
Isn't it
man. Because I
weird?
know I've been sized up by you at one point. Even if it was dismissively like, never. And move it. I'm not going to touch that back. My hand will get lost. Nothing like that.
Don't worry, I feel the same. Yesterday,
I think you're a very kind sizist at the end of the day.
He's a
You don't
sizist.
share it with most of the world, but inside you're quietly judging everybody.
I'm a kind sizist.
Yes.
but he thinks about it all the time. Yesterday we were
fucking
working on a show we were writing, and then out of nowhere he goes, God, I saw you the other day. That lifting like 600 pounds. I don't even acknowledge him. I go, anyways, hey, so
You
we
did
just
do
keep
that.
going. Yeah, I'm like, what
You
the
couldn't go there with me.
No, for
But
what?
In all fairness,
I don't want to get into
in
this.
all fairness,
I don't want to
you
make this about you and me
sent
either.
a picture of
2 weeks ago.
Quiet down.
To Chris D'Elia on
Quiet
his
down.
birthday. I went, Chris D'Elia, for your birthday, I'm going to gift you this. It was me lifting, just
I'm
messing
gonna-
around.
But I want to tell you what our relationship is for a second, and we're going to get back to you because I want to read to you.
Justify it.
Well, I want to read to you the fucking
understand.
text I got out of the blue from Brendan Schaub. And he's on his way, and we're going to work on our show, our live show that we have this weekend. And I just thought...
Where's the live show?
I wanted to...
It's Philadelphia and D.C.
I saw you guys been going to the same places that I gig at a lot. You were at the Vic in Chicago. I
yep.
just came off the
Yeah, I
Vic.
love the Vic.
Vic's a
man.
wonderful
Isn't it?
place. Yeah. And then there was someplace else I saw that. I was like, I've been to that place. Gramercy, New York.
Yeah,
Yep.
Gramercy's great.
It's fun, right?
Yes.
Now, you're used to being on stage all the time.
Me, I am, because I'm always doing stand-up.
You're used to being on a certain kind of stage all the time.
Yeah, a little different. Though.
Isn't it nicer to sit there and just
Oh
have a
my
fucking
God,
conversation?
the best, man. My
Well,
life
whose
is a
idea
dream.
was it like, let's take it live and do this live? First, it starts in the room, right? You just did the podcast. Who was the one?
It was Brian goes, dude,
You know what
we
that
should-
means? He sees money all over you. He looks at you, sees a big dollar sign. He's like, we got to get him on stage where we can sell tickets.
tickets like a
Gate.
circus elephant.
Talking 95% of the gate. Yes. He sized, once again, he sized
Sized
you
me
up.
up.
Lose the,
Money
shirt,
wise.
lose the shirt and get out there.
It was Brian's idea, but I've been to a lot of. So when he was like, "We should take this live," I went to do some just field research. Went to a bunch of live podcasts. I'm like, God, it's kind of boring. A lot of them do.
Yeah.
It was kind of boring unless you're just so into that podcast.
Truly.
So Brian's like, "Well, no, let's do a performance. So we'll just do like a comedy performance," and that's how it started, man.
Yeah.
Is that what you consider? Do you get together and chit chat?
Yeah, we think of it as like, the shows themselves for us. We like to do a comedy show. It's a show
live.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not
so
a
it's a
podcast.
So
podcast.
how
but
different
it's
is
really
it
a show.
from this?
This is just off the cuff. We're just what we'll do with the
Conversation.
with the live show though. What we'll do is have bullet points, but we don't write anything. We have
All
bullet
right, so
points.
there's not like a script where you're like, tonight.
No,
A lot of improv.
and we always go. Let's see what happens when we go out there. and Brendan a lot of times will do 10 minutes of stand up
Nice.
at the start because he's
I saw you
know,
were doing that. Where'd you go? Comedy Store?
Comedy Story and
Nice.
Laugh Factory.
How's that feel?
Yeah, the best, man.
It's awesome,
The
man.
best. Yes.
yeah.
Do you ever stand up there and go like, why the fuck was I using my body all this time? I could have just been up here like chatting and shit. But then you realize you had to have that entire career to have something to talk about.
Correct.
Yep.
But people ask me all the time, like, don't you wish you started this 10 years ago? I'm like, I don't know if I would have been able to do it.
Truly.
I don't think so.
And now you got something to talk about
Yeah,
for
exactly.
a long time.
Yep.
And it used to be like, I remember when I started getting up and just talking and shit, like people would shame you for having an audience. They'd be like, oh, he just plays to his audience.
Yep.
But it's like, well, fucking, doesn't Steven Spielberg play to his audience? Granted, it's bigger and more diversified, but like every person, every artist plays to their audience. you got to take your audience from one place to another place.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? You know, like some people,
and they're already rooting for you too. That's the sweet thing.
Yeah,
they're already in your corner. So if you're like, look, now I'm gonna do this, and they're like, oh my god, he's fucking funny too.
Yep.
Well, he went from
smart.
the hardest.
You were smart to be like hit your wagon to the.
Well, what happened with us is really I noticed because I'm such an MMA fan.
Yeah.
And
what? No.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
Believe it or not, dude. Fighting is my secret garden, Ken.
I don't know if you can even watch the fights or if the whole time you're just sitting there going, what is that guy, like 120?
Well, he won't watch them.
How old is he, 28? How old is he?
Yeah, he won't watch
God, what do you think
he
eats? I'm like, I don't know. I have no clue.
I'm like, what's his nationality? He's definitely got some African in him and some Spanish. It's a beautiful caramel color.
And then every now and then Brian go, he needs to keep his left hand up that left. And I go, are you giving, you're giving him notes, huh?
How about one time I was like, well, guy's got his fundamentals aren't quite as sound.
He said that in front of me and Joe Rogan. And he goes, that guy's fundamentals aren't good. And even Rogan looks at me and goes,
well, not only that.
And I went like this, I went.
The fighter himself heard about it, and Ben Henderson, the great Ben Henderson, who's, was like, he goes, hey, I didn't have good fundamentals. He fights out of Ben Henderson. I was like, I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean it that way. And the guy's a real badass.
Have you ever MMA'd or fought?
I was a wrestler, and I was a Taekwondo guy.
In high school? Or after high school?
Yeah, and then after high school and college. And then I box.
You grapple, though. You're not just a guy, a wannabe or a dude who
I'm
admires
a guy who
it.
loves it, but I'm nothing.
He's the guy of a dude playing another dude.
I buy that.
Yeah.
I buy that.
Yeah.
You're like the second best thing to the real thing. Because you could talk the game and you could clearly size a person up and say what their value is, muscular.
I will say the only thing, the only thing I give myself is that I did it long enough to have enormous respect for the guys like Brendan and the other guys that have taken it to that level. Like I did it enough so I can imagine more accurately than the average person what it takes.
Right.
And that's probably why mixed martial arts, for me, I believe is the sport that requires the most out of an athlete for a lot of reasons.
More so than hockey?
Yes, for a lot of reasons. But just because in mixed martial arts you need, and I have respect for all the sports, of course, and they're very tough, but something about mixed martial arts, because it's a new sport and also the fact that the margin for error is so slim, you can really pay a large price if you don't solve the problem that's in front of you, which is the other fighter. But also you have to know everything. I would watch him train. You have to be really good at jiu-jitsu. You have to be really good at wrestling. You have to be really good at stopping takedowns. You have to be really good at kicking. You have to be really good at punching. And if you're not, you're going to pay a price for it. And add to that, the sport is evolving at 100 miles an hour.
What do you mean? Explain that part.
The sport's always changing.
Neophyte.
You've got teams of guys now that are able to watch you fight, and after you win 3-4 times, you guys, very smart guys who go, you know what? He's really good, but this is his hole. Here's his weakness, and here's how we're going to train to beat him. So it becomes really the way I look at MMA. What I love as a fan is that the sport itself is almost like you're watching two teams try to solve the problem. Which is this fighter in front of us with his own game plan,
Poetically put.
Yeah, and I used to watch Brendan kind of deal with that and the pressure of that.
Yeah, I don't think it's the hardest sport in the world. No. I don't. The level of competition is just not there yet. Like the level of air, the margin of error in hockey at a high level is so insane.
Sure.
And the amount of time those guys are on the ice and the amount of games they play, because you got to think they basically play as many games damn near as baseball, but it's the physicality of football.
And the thing that's also undercounted too, or discounted.
And how long? I don't.
There are knives on the ice at all times.
And
there are weapons
and
flying,
a puck on ice.
Vulcanized rubber flying at 110 miles per hour and stuff like that.
You know how much give that ice has?
Not a lot.
0.
And it's like.
Plus, how long has hockey been around?
Long time. What, 100 years?
The level of the athlete.
There's kind of there's no doubt that I think other sports that pay more money have the higher level of athlete.
You think hockey pays more money than MMA?
No, yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, not even close.
Not even close.
I would just imagine, like, in terms of like MMA. I know you keep talking about that was growing or revolving, but like, just seems like the sport other than football that most people talk about in my sphere of influence.
It is, but
so I assumed it was because it went for. I remember. I mean. Is this weird to say that I remember when this started?
Me too.
No, that's
fair.
What I'm saying?
Like,
we all
it's
do.
weird to watch something evolve from like, suddenly a new sport.
But you know why I think it might be in your world, and tell me if I'm totally off here, is like in that forum, like chat room era, that's where MMA started. That's where the UFC's grounds came from, the roots. So I feel like there's kind of a similarity between comic book guys. I was a comic book guy as a kid, and when we came up on the forums, and that's really because it was underground. It's kind of like this shady, illegal thing to do, but everyone knew the guys and started to get big in the chat rooms and the forums and all that. So it was built off that platform, kind of. So I feel like maybe that's why it's in your world. Because football, hockey, baseball, basketball, they don't come from they started so long ago. They haven't been around. Yeah. But social media and the forums is why MMA got so big so fast.
I buy that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like anything else, the more you know about it, the more. But I mean, anytime you're trying to be the best at something, it's going to require all of you. I mean, in a lot of ways. But
it's a very open line.
You speaking of comic books, that's a world you've been in. And one of the things I noticed was...
And the thing that I would love... I wish MMA would just cross the line and have them put on costumes and shit. Just like now it's Batman versus the Joker.
There's a guy. I forget
It's very funny.
Just add one more level. Like I know it's serious,
there's
it's real.
guy
The margin for
doing
error
this,
is small, but if you threw a cape on a motherfucker, the margin for error gets even smaller.
It'd also be a liability because you could get choked out with your own cape.
That's what I'm saying. Totally. So you got to make the decision between fashion choice and functionality.
A mask. There's a guy in Seattle who actually wears a costume, fights crime, then fights in MMA.
So he'll do.
He's like a legit MMA fighter, but he's
MMA fighter by that.
Bring him up, Chin.
Is it Phoenix Jones?
Yeah. Phoenix Jones.
Of course, I know. I knew he was a crime fighter. That's how I know his early.
Now he's
crime
not a
fighting
good
work.
MMA fighter, but
he'll go in the costume.
He walked out, I think, in the costume and went in. It didn't.
Are you allowed to wear the costume?
No,
that would be against the rules, right?
Yeah, it's against.
What about just a mask?
I can't wear the mask either.
He's been on Comic Book Man, our show on AMC.
Well, he looks like a badass.
I like that show, man.
Thank you. All right, so wait, right now the rules don't allow for a mask.
Definitely can't wear a mask.
What about a domino mask?
Nope.
What if you painted it on with black?
Well, if you gave yourself two black eyes, maybe.
Oh, that's the play.
An
MMA mask right there.
But then you get the paint put in your face. Let me ask you.
Look at how many images of Phoenix Jones are. He's a self-made superhero.
Yes, he is.
Only real life superhero.
He's also jacked. Let me ask you this: what would you say?
So you're saying that's not all costume?
I'm saying that's all fast twitch muscle right there.
What are you calling it?
Fast twitch. There's slow twitch and fast twitch. Yeah.
I don't know if he's still.
Oh my
fighting.
God, you're so male. It makes me giggle. It makes me into a girlish woman.
I got problems.
No, I dig it. Unapologetically like male.
One of the things that I've noticed on the forums is that there are real arguments and philosophical ones about who would beat who in a fight, Batman versus Spider-Man, etc.
Naturally.
Now, do you have a point of view on that? And if there is, would you say who is the baddest superhero of all time?
We're going to reduce the conversation to this? Fuck.
Yeah.
Back in your world?
Yeah,
I feel like that could trump all this, and tell me if I'm just off. And it's from a kid who grew up collecting comic books.
Oh.
I feel like Superman would just destroy everybody.
Feels like
end of conversation, Trump,
I met a cat recently. We're on the Goldbergs. There was a gentleman on the crew who was like, Superman, Hulk fight, who wins? I was like, Superman, hands down, he's an alien. As long as there's an Earth, as long as Earth is under that yellow sun, Superman wins over anybody unless the Hulk whips out kryptonite, and that's Deus Ex Machina. That's just bad writing. So I said, hands down, Superman. And then next day, my man comes back to me and goes, what if Hulk throws Superman so far he's out of Earth's atmosphere and there is no yellow sun? I was like, Hulk, you got me. I'm sorry. So you gotta make room for the possible.
What if you take Superman out of the equation?
Then who's the most powerful?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not a popular answer, but Captain Atom is a living bomb, just a living weapon. Like the atom split himself, the power of the atom. Firestorm, the nuclear man. Thank God I'm married, because otherwise, anyone listening is like, I ain't fucking this guy. I wasn't fucking him before, fat piece of shit. But now that he's actually, next he's going to bring up Quasar. Quasar is actually a pretty strong choice as well.
I just wanted you to.
Do they do that in your world? Are they like, oh man, what would happen if these? They don't do that because then they just fight, don't they?
Well, they still do it. I mean, I do it.
That's how the fight begins. Like they're like, what if this guy fought this guy? Oh, who would win? And then finally,
sometimes or there just talks about it. There's a lot of debates about who's the greatest.
It's usually older guys
because it could happen. The thing about comics can't happen. So you're like, let's imagine. You know? But here you can literally just go on a forum and request it. Not dream about it. You can't go to DC and be like, can you show me?
But there are weight classes. There are weight classes.
There's weight class stuff like that.
That'll always keep them separated?
True.
Is there no crazy division where it's just like all
Free
classes?
for all.
Yeah.
That, back in the day, it started that way. No
But
weight
now, no
classes.
more.
No, more legalized now.
When you get a guy, when you get a guy
made it all
his size,
corporate
when you get a
and
guy his size who's trained,
Yeah.
he's always going to be a smaller guy. I mean,
Always going to be a smaller guy.
155-pound guy. I don't give a shit who it is. Is not gonna. It's just not gonna be able to fight.
Is it come down to brute strength?
No.
Come down to brute size?
No, because
So a small guy, well
because that's why
trained, very
jiu-jitsu
strong.
was originally started for the small man to be able to deal with a bigger man.
That's how it was.
Yeah, that's how
birth
it
of
started.
jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Bunch of small people are like, we're tired of this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, until
gotta
the
get
bigger
him.
man learns jujitsu as well as you know jujitsu,
And then suddenly the
there's
smaller
a
man's
little
like,
bit
we're
of different-
fucked again.
Yeah,
Sure.
Like, well, here we go. Again.
Now we need guns. It
happened.
escalates. Pretty much, I guess.
But in my world, it's more like what would happen if Brock Lesnar, who's retired, fought a guy like Stipe or
so, like the
a guy
same way
could-
other sports
there
will
you
be
go.
like, what if
Michael
Gretzky
Jordan
was on
LeBron,
ice
yeah, there you
versus
go.
blah,
There
blah,
you
blah.
go.
Yeah, exactly.
A little different, but
What? So you guys met on the Rogan show doing his podcast?
I met Brendan doing The Ultimate Fighter. So I was friends with Nate Marquardt, who was one of the coaches, brought me in just to kind of talk to the guys. And the idea was to talk to them about performance psychology, which I had talked to Nate a little bit about, because just as a performer and dealing with like not listening to critics, not kind of as a fighter, not listening to what the fans want you to do.
Are you shitting me?
No, yeah.
They brought you in to be like, we
Well,
want you to
I had
talk
spoken.
to...
I spoke to
I-
Nate that way because it had an
Yeah.
effect on him, and I mean, I don't know enough about fighting to talk to Nate about fighting, but I know a whole lot about performance psychology.
Right.
I've had my own battles with that. I've had my own battles about when it's all on the line, not fucking up. You go in for an audition, and it's the difference between $1 million that year or no money,
true.
and it's your last fucking audition of the season. Believe me, I choked enough so I almost quit acting. And I had to have a real sit down with myself. I never went to see a psychiatrist, but I had a kind of a come to Jesus moment
with
Which
yourself,
was
with
what?
myself.
in the mirror,
I'm sorry.
like sitting down in front
What-
of the
and
mirror.
what-
Well,
based
it
on
was
what?
a little bit more than that. It
What
was
is the
it was
come to
a
Jesus
long time of
conversation?
a long
With
period of
yourself.
anxiety. So
Get better at this or something?
No.
Like, did you
Did you
yell
just
at
look in the mirror and
yourself?
say, "Quit fucking up"? Got it.
No, for me, what was happening was it was manifesting itself physically. So much of what happens is you come to this town, you start working.
Yeah.
People say great things about you, and then there's all these people are going, "You're going to be a star," and they're looking at you, and then you keep getting to the point where you're going to test for this huge show,
Yeah.
and all you got to do is go and do what you've been doing for the past 5 auditions, and everybody knows you're the favorite.
Right.
And then you say, what if I fuck up? I'm not going to, but it's only 30 seconds or a minute. Sometimes when the audition is shorter, it's a disaster, especially when it's just, comedy. They said timing, don't push, don't pull back. Just be in the moment. Well, trying to be in the moment when everything's on the line and you're in your own head, all of a sudden you fuck up.
Right.
You push a little bit.
Right.
And you didn't do what you did there. And the network goes, almost. Next. And that happened to me 17 times.
Oh, you
17.
know the number.
I know the number. And
At that point, you were like, fuck this, I'm gone.
No, pilot season would come along, and all of a sudden, I couldn't swallow. My throat felt like I had an apple in it.
Because for you, it was like eat or don't eat?
Yeah,
Make or break?
it was also just, I had this fucking primary question in my brain, which was, what if I fail? What if I fail?
Were
What
you
if I
putting
fail?
in the work though?
I was putting in like more than the work, and that was the problem, actually, believe it or not. In other words, I had a coach.
'Cause in
I also was
fighting, it's
remember, I was in
different.
class, probably an acting class, without exaggeration, 10 hours a week, because I was the Beverly Hills Playhouse. And not only that, but I was always rehearsing scenes. I was, I'm a work guy. I work,
Right.
Problem was, I'd get ready for an audition. I'd get too ready. And sometimes you can get too ready. In other words, I knew that audition backwards and forwards.
Overly
That's why that's why I'd always test. That's why I beat everybody. And it'd be between me and 2 other guys. There's no getting to the network and beating everybody was never a problem. I was going to do my job. Then I get there, and it's just like, don't miss this putt. That putt, you'll win the Masters. You ever see a golfer choke? That's literally what it was, right? And I would choke.
I've seen that happen.
Oh, I'm sure
on a
you
movie.
have.
I don't even want to
Do
say.
you have any of those problems?
Me,
I
no.
feel like
Well, I got different problems in terms of like,
performance.
well, not performance. My problem, this is not a problem, this is a first world problem to say the least. And I was lucky enough to have this problem. But I started as, and I want to put a pin in that because I get back to that thought. I started as one thing, and maybe you'll identify as this. I started as one thing. I'm a filmmaker. I direct. I make this. I make that. And that was how they got introduced. But that's was never like, I was interested in that for like a minute before it happened. You know what I'm saying? Like I fell in love with film, and then a year later I had a film and stuff, so I got lucky. But the moment I got into the room or my foot in the door, then I was like, I'm going to try all these other things. So for years I've been doing other stuff, never focusing on my craft. Like most people strive for excellence in that one fucking thing.
Dominate that one thing. Just focus on that.
And I, like early on, I was like, I'm never going to dominate this shit. I'm not even supposed to fucking be here today, to borrow a line from my first film. Like this was like a fluke. Like this was me trying to see, can I make a film? And we did, and it got bought. Luck and timing had everything to do with it, not like talent and shit. Just like we said, the right thing at the right time. The movie got bought, and suddenly I went from like working at a convenience store having a fucking career. And, you know, suddenly I guess I could have been like, well, let's strive for excellence in the career, go for Oscar gold, whatever the fuck. But that never, since that was never the aim, and I didn't expect to get in, that was never a like, let me strive for excellence. Once I got into the room, I was like, that looks fucking fun. Let me try that. That looks fun. Let me try that. That looks cool. Like I loved comic books, so I was like, I'm going to try to write for comic books. And my agent out here was like, what are you, fucking nuts? What do they pay, $100 a page? I was like, it's not the money, dude. It's just you do it because like, oh my God, I got the chance to do it now. So I've spun so many plates and never really focused like myself on any one thing. Like I'm kind of spread all over, and I'm certainly not spread thin. And believe me, nobody would ever say that by the looks of me. But when I figured out at a certain point, they could get you if you're one thing. When I was a filmmaker and just a director, they could get you. And whoever they is, I don't mean that to sound like, you know, live off the grid.
If your film doesn't do well, you
so you're saying put all your eggs in that one basket?
Because then you're trying your hardest.
All your eggs in that one basket. Yeah. That's where I went, because I'm like, after years of doing it, I figured it out maybe 10, 12 years into the career. I was like, you know, you keep defining yourself as like filmmaker. You let them keep defining you as filmmaker as well. That's fine, because that's what I wanted to be in the beginning and stuff. But if you're a filmmaker and your film sucks, and you're a failed filmmaker. And if you're a filmmaker who's not successful, then maybe you don't get to be a filmmaker anymore, and your whole fucking identity can be stripped out from under you. Could you imagine? And not by choice. Like as an athlete, one day you could choose to leave the sport, or your body tells you get the fuck out, or you know you're like, I did what I wanted to do and get out. So for me, I realized like a few years back, I was like, well, just, you know, you wanted to be an artist in some weird fucking way, self-expressor. I don't like the term art because it's so alienating, but you wanted to be a self-expressor. So just like, see if you could self-express for a living. Like, see if you could just be you for a living. That became my dream. When I was a kid, I used to watch like Match Game and shit. There was a dude named, remember Charles Nelson Riley? Mm-hmm. My whole life, I was like, what is he fucking famous for? My dad was like, I don't know, but he's on everything.
He was on Mad TV.
I have no idea, but he's all over the place.
He was on fucking the what was it?
He did it all.
The Tic Tac, no, what was it?
That
Hollywood
game.
Squares.
Yep.
Fucking Match Game, like, and you know, later on, toward the end of his life, he was on an episode of the X-Files.
He's just a personality.
He just did it all. Like Eli Wallach said that. He said, "Do it all, do everything." And I never forgot. He came to talk to our acting school. He said, and Eli Wallach was in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. You're a little young to remember him, but he was the great character actor. Yeah. And he just said, I do it all. He said, I'll do something on a ship, on a cruise ship, because I like to act.
Yeah.
And that the way I got out of his piggybacking on that is I just said, I stopped defining myself as an actor. I started to find myself, I said, I'm in the business of self-expression.
There you go.
How tough was that, though, B?
It was very hard.
Because your dream, for a lot of people, your dream wasn't to do comedy.
No.
Your dream was to be the next Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
But he can be that and still be funny as well. And George Carlin, the greatest of the greats, backed into comedy as well. Like when you hear George Carlin, you're like, if there's a Mount Rushmore for comedy, Carlin's on it. He didn't want that. He did not have an interest in being a comedian.
Did he want to be an actor?
He wanted to be Danny fucking Kaye. He wanted to dance and sing in movies and be a charming fucking leading man.
Damn,
and so he couldn't get that. He backed into fucking being George Carlin, the comedian and stuff. And yet everyone's like, if I could be that guy or whatever and stuff. And the redefinition of who you think you are from what you know you are is an important part of every person's growth process. I'm talking like, would have been important for your mom and dad had they been given the chance. Like if they didn't just have to work and fucking put food on the table. They should allow, America should allow like a 10 or 20 year retirement plan where it's like 10 years in any job, you get to take 1 month or 6 months off to go fucking figure out, do I still want this? Do I still want to be this person?
That's a great idea.
Is there something? And I know it's like some people are like, fucking bitch, I'm three jobs. I ain't got time to wonder what I want to be. But that's such an important part of it, man. It's like so many people get caught in the trap of like, I got to put fucking dollars on the table, food on the table and shit, and forget to dream. That's how you get to be in a
I love
place.
how you said that. I love what that means. I love redefining who you are, because once I realized that I was defining myself as an actor, and I realized that I was more of a comic. And once I let go of that definition, guess what? I started working all the
Like
time.
crazy.
I
You're
never
a
stopped
silly
working.
goose.
Yeah.
Like you like to be silly.
Yeah, and once I embraced that, my dramatic side, everything else kind of like came out, and I guess I actually have never stopped working since I kind of conquered, or at least changed the definition of what I am, which is in the business of self-expression, original self-expression.
Which is tough to
comedically.
identify with. 'Cause a lot of athletes struggle with it. And I was having this conversation with a fighter the other day. It might have been Rampage, and we were talking about these older fighters wanting to fight like a Matt Hughes, you know, a guy who retired years ago. And I went, I think it's because all they do is identify with being that fighter at the time. They've never found anything else that lights their fire. There's no other passion for them. So of course they want to come back and fight because it's all they know. It's literally all they know.
We
They've
see
never
this all the
thought
time.
of doing anything else. You
It's been
know,
a bunch
when
of
they do, it
plays.
might be late. You know,
It's the idea is, especially if anyone gives you enough attention in life to be like, hey, what you do in this thing is great. You know, I understand the path some take where they're like, well, I'm going to devote myself to this sort of excellence. But spin a bunch of plates, because some shit ends, and if you're trapped in it, like you're stuck with it. Know that there's other things you can pivot to.
Well, there's
you're spinning the same plate, similar, right? Like
Yeah, it's not all that different. It's not like I'm like either on podcasting or I'm going to do fucking brain surgery. Like I'm going to pivot to the other. Generally in the same
There's
sphere.
similar plates. yeah.
Another way to put that also is that in the 21st century economy, I can't remember who it was, this famous economist said, the people that are going to thrive in this ever-changing and rapidly changing world are those that can learn, unlearn, and relearn. And you've always got to be,
You know,
what's that?
Open-minded.
It sucks
Yeah, and
when
also
you've-
be willing to relearn, right? Be willing to constantly change. I've had to confront that with social media, right?
Most people don't want to relearn, because once you fucking got something down to a science, you're like, fucking done.
It's comfortable.
But the willing to learn, fantastic. Willing to like let it go, that's difficult, because you build experience into something. You're like, well, all that time must have been worth something. It was for something, and sometimes it is, but the moment is fucking small.
Yep.
You can't stretch it out forever and stuff.
I think it's tough too because society, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a director, if you're an actor going to comedy, once you do something else, you go, "Oh, come on, man." We get it all the time. Stay in your lane. It's like, no, you want that. You want me to stay in that lane. I don't want to be in that lane. I'm gonna go over this lane.
Well,
and
he's
do
a
pretty
nut.
well
He's
in
a
it.
nut because this
Redefine the
fucking guy-
lane. You just, I'm going to move. You know those lanes on a bridge where sometimes you're traveling, you see that
Yeah.
fucking, all of a sudden it goes from 2-lane to a 4-lane highway for traffic. All you have to do is just like, all right, now this is the fucking lane.
Well, he's dealt with this as a comic, right? So the podcast becomes really, really successful. He starts another podcast, which becomes huge. So all of a sudden he's like, I don't know, man. There's something about I'm talking, I know how to do this. And secretly he wanted to perform. He's always wanted to perform. And he kept talking about telling stories, and I was like, do you want to do stand up here? You know? And finally, when he admitted that to himself, but it's funny to see how many people, even comics, until they see him and the work he's putting in, everybody's reaction, and anytime you come into a new space, is to be like, come on, man.
How long have you been doing comedy?
20 years now.
Okay, so
More.
you were around before most cats were doing. You're certainly around before I got into doing it. Like, I just appreciated comedy from the side. You've seen it change from like, oh, well, we all know what it is. You go up there and you stand up there and you say some shit, to now it's you can do almost anything in a comedy club except smoke weed.
Yes.
You go up on stage and say, I want to present this. I remember like years ago, me and Mosier, the guy I do Smodcast with, and that's a podcast just turned 10 years old. 10 years old this year.
Dang,
so I've been
that's
doing
a
it for a
long-
decade.
Yeah, you're like one of the originals.
When I started, it was Leo Laporte had like This Week in Tech.
Was Marin around then?
No.
Nope.
Really?
We predate. Adam
didn't
still
know
had
that,
a
Kevin.
radio show. He did not have
You
a podcast.
predate Rogan. You predate Corolla and Marin.
Oh, so you're the original Godfather.
And Chris Hardwick. I don't know about Godfather. I like you know who it was? Adam Curry. He was the first one who did a podcast.
Who's that?
The old MTV host, Adam Curry.
Oh, yeah.
I never listened to it, but like he was the one that kind of invented the medium or something like that. When I heard about it, it was after the Ricky Gervais podcast. My friend Scott Mosier was like, have you heard the Ricky Gervais podcast? I was like, what is a podcast? And he goes, it's kind of like, he goes, you know the commentary tracks we do for the movies? I said, yeah. He goes, it's like that, but there's no movie. I was like, why the fuck don't we do one of these podcasts? So I got into it kind of early on just because I was like, nobody's stopping us. Like I used to drive past radio stations and be like, man, if I was rich one day, I would get myself my own radio station, my own antenna. And then I could say whatever the fuck I wanted and broadcast at any time of day, get up and broadcast and shit. Then all of a sudden somebody presented this notion of like, you can have that and it's universal. You don't even need to do it for just one
and you own
city.
it. Like you don't have a
and it's yours. And it can be whatever the fuck you want it to be.
Yeah.
So at one point Moj was like, I need money. He's like, how can we make money fast? And I was like, well, we've been doing Smodcast for about 2 years at home. And we used to joke about like, imagine if we did it on stage. And I was always on stage doing Q&A and shit. But Mosier couldn't get his head around like, who would want to watch two people fucking talk to each other in a comedy club?
And what's his background?
He was a producer. And now he's still a producer. Now he works at Illumination, the company that makes like Minions
all that
and
stuff,
shit like that. Yeah, he's working on something big.
Nice.
So when we went out, like it was weird. I was doing Q&A gigs, and I'd like played Carnegie Hall and stuff. So I was well established as like a guy standing there, essentially doing stand up, but needing the audience to ask me a question first. And then I told my booking agent, I was like, I want to go out and do a podcast, like. And he said, okay, and came back and he goes, nobody understands it. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you can't go to a stand-up club and sit the fuck down with your friend and talk to him. Like, that's what you do in the audience.
That's not going to work.
I was like, but no, I think it'll work. And I got, like, I used to be ashamed of, like, I love doing Q&A, but people would be like, oh, you're like a comic. And I'm like, no, man, comics don't need to ask the audience a question. Comics just go up, generate, and shit like that. So I'd stay out of comedy clubs because I revere comics and comedy and stuff. I never considered myself one, and it like it was kind of confirmed when I was like, oh, I just want to go and talk to my friend, and like you don't do that sort of thing. Like we did at the Improv where me and Ralph do Babylon every fucking week.
And how long ago was your first show?
First one we did live, I guess now it's coming up on like 8.5, 9 years ago.
Damn, bro.
Jesus.
Wait, are you telling us all this because you want royalties?
I'm looking for a little. I want to wet my beak a little.
He's like, here's the thing.
Let me wet my beak.
I heard you guys doing all right. I'm going to need 10%.
I want a taste. Just a taste.
But it is an example of
the optics of this look good, but the metrics are not in my favor. No, it was just like.
But you've been a groundbreaker. This is another example of you kind of doing shit that was always. I mean, I don't know.
It just never feels like groundbreaking. Yeah. It's just like I just don't like. There's got to be another way. Like, you know,
you don't wait for permission.
Yeah, it's like, and that's the thing. And if you fucking wait for anyone to show up and say, here's the life you want, you will fucking die unhappy. Just go out and do it. And like, you know, just like in life, they say, you know, what is it? Like, don't ask permission, apologize instead.
No,
or something?
Don't ask permission, apologize later.
Or ask for forgiveness later.
There it is, or something like that. Like, I'm not saying go offend people in life or fucking ruin somebody else's day, but don't ask for somebody to give you permission to do the shit that you want to try, particularly because I guarantee you the shit you want to try is not like, you know, I want to split an atom. It's not dangerous for anybody. You know, it's just like, you're like, I've listened to these podcasts. I think that'd be fun. Fucking do it. I've seen a movie or two. I think I would like to do it. Fucking do it. I've seen these fighters fight. Like, I'm physical. I could size up a guy, put my hand on a dude's back many times. Fucking do it.
Hey, Kevin, wait a minute. I'm not getting into a goddamn ring.
Did you ever get into it? Have you ever thought about getting into it?
I've always fantasized about it, sure. But I just, again, I'm 50, and I know
wow,
better.
That's, number one, you don't look 50, and you don't carry 50.
How old are you?
46. Because I'm like,
neither
this is
one
50.
of you look. I feel like I look older than both of you. Is it because I got punched in the face?
Hey, you look like a fucking child. I can't believe you're not in high school. You look so fucking young right now.
Fucking high school.
Oh my God, we should be serving you lunch and then talking about you after you leave. Like, he's getting big.
He's getting
No, you wash the pot now.
Let's restrict his milk. He's drinking too much milk and meat. He might be prone to rage. He is a natural giant.
Milk and meat. So what? You've never, but you won't do it. You won't get into that.
So my trainer Wayne McCullough wants me to take a charity fight.
I wouldn't let you.
Yes,
and I would. Brendan's like,
I won't let him do it.
Yeah, and
you won't let him do it.
No.
What if you were the fighter?
Well, I don't have no interest in fighting him because what happened.
I would let him dominate. I would never.
That's
do
not
that.
dominate.
I'd let Bryan beat me up.
Guys don't realize it's that's always so. What's really fun is you don't actually.
Couldn't you get in his head though? You know him now.
You have
like I'm not going to fight you with my body, but I will use you with my.
There's no one you know. There's no one you know, and I mean it. And including tough guys that you know. And I'm not trying to blow smoke up his ass.
I don't know tough guys.
There's no one you know who is athletic that would last 1 minute with that guy. Not 1 minute. And I've been fighting. I wrestle. I box and stuff. And if I really tried, and I've really put my gloves on, and we got in the ring, and I'm just talking boxing, and I really I did everything I've been
all
working
natural
on.
Too, not even like for this match about
you can
of all
juice
matches.
Me? Oh, you want to juice me?
Yes.
All right.
Can I juice you up? For this?
Wait, hold on.
You want to juice him up?
Yes.
Hold on.
It's his only chance.
Let's get serious. I'm going to go to a camp.
Okay.
And I want you can juice me up. We're going to get some Deca. We're going to get some Wenstrel.
You can even toss a cape on him, Kevin.
Go ahead and toss a cape on me, and I want some human growth.
Done
right?
and done. And we're also going to blood dope just to be sure.
Oh, we're definitely blood dope.
Okay, fair enough.
And the reason you blood dope is in case the fight goes into round 4 and 5, right?
That could kick in.
That way I don't get tired.
So you have all of that.
All
still?
of that. And let's pack on. Let's just give me 20 pounds
gloves.
20 pounds of
Give
muscle.
him Wolverine claws.
And I'm not joking now. I want you to put headgear on me, and I got a bar so you can protect my nose. You can do all that for me. Now, I'm black belt in Taekwondo. I competed. I can kick. I can punch. And I was a high school wrestler and a blue belt in jiu-jitsu.
Right.
I got a whole arsenal I'm coming at him with. And I've been through a fucking training camp.
This ain't like Project Grizzly where the dude built a bear-proof suit and stood there like, you're ready.
I'm fucking ready, bro.
That being said,
I'm ready.
How long?
All right? If from engagement, I can't run away. I got to engage.
Yeah. That's true. Because you could, I mean, the cage is big enough for you to run around for a while. Kill some time.
Ready?
Kill some time.
I'm not trying to be a dick.
Right.
If I really tried, I would be an accomplishment if I got past the 30 seconds.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And that's just the truth.
That's amazing.
If you want me to shut down, you want me to talk about how strong I am or how tough I am.
That's it. That's where you're like, I want to talk about it.
We don't know each other. I'm the least toughest guy you know. I'm not aggressive.
But that's not the point of. That's not.
But in the ring,
I'd rather have your brain.
Stuff like that.
I'd rather have your brain creativity than lift 600 pounds.
Of course.
Yeah, but only until society collapses, and then I want to be you in a big
Society's
way.
not going to collapse.
Any minute now. Any minute now.
And the point is,
nobody's going to need podcasters, but they're going to use brute strength and power.
Don't call me.
But the point isn't that he's tough that way. That's not the point. The point is that you're talking about a guy who's trained at a very high level for 10 years.
Right.
And oh, by the way, he's 250 or 240 and 6'4".
It would be like playing
ridiculous
hockey
athlete.
against Steve Eiserman.
It's a very different thing.
Even in retirement.
Yeah.
Even
And just wrestling him. Like if you just tried to wrestle a guy who's a high level jiu-jitsu guy at that size, it's a bear versus a dog.
Now, I wish I could go on
ask-
stage and just deadlift and it would kill the crowd? Yeah,
Yes.
that'd be
amazing.
great.
Look at the strength.
Hey, check it out.
You could literally intimidate them into laughing for the first 8 minutes. Like, just stand there and be like, what, this ain't fucking funny? And they're like,
Dude, I had a comic do that to me. It's one of my best sets ever at the Improv. He gets on after me and goes, I don't know what the fuck that was. I know you guys are scared of him, and so you felt like you had to laugh. I don't know what the fuck that was.
It's a good thing I wasn't there.
He goes,
I would have punched
the
that
guy.
guy in the
Hey, the
face.
guy goes, this is comedy. This is what comedy looks like. I was like, oh God.
I've not forgotten that.
did you find it insulting? I just found that like, this
I
gotta be
do.
No,
I
you
do.
really?
I found it insulting.
I don't-
He said
You're
that
a
about
pro.
him. No, he said that. He's not going to say that about me.
But I mean, for him to say, but what were you
I expect
saying?
that
Was he
stuff.
kind of,
He's being
Playing off the crowd?
to me, it sounded like he was just like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
starting his set.
Yeah.
But did you get the impression that he was serious? Like,
A little, because he's
that
done
dude
it
is
twice.
Really?
He's done it twice, but also...
and not just as like, I got a good
No.
laugh off of it once.
Yeah,
I'll keep it
Yeah,
up.
like I have a thick skin, but I would do the exact. I would probably do the same thing. Maybe not. I'm not that kind of a
No, you
bully,
wouldn't.
but
No, you wouldn't.
I get it. I'm like, I get it, man.
That's why I
get
could
it,
never
brother.
be like
I-
a comic, true
I don't
comic,
get
because
it.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't strike like that.
I don't
Like,
get it.
couldn't-
Also, that comic,
but I've done it-
not that funny.
I take the hit myself. I can't.
Me
hit
too.
that.
I'd rather do it myself.
Me
Like
too.
I had a comic. This was, months ago. I'm at the Improv or the Laugh Factory, and it's a Tuesday night. There's about 9 people in the crowd, and the guy before me gets on. He's this Australian guy, and it's an urban crowd, and he's making fun of black people. I'm like, oh, buddy, bad idea.
Serious?
Yeah, I'm like, no. And he's like trying to mimic the voice, and I was like, God, that's not the way to go. So I got on, and I could tell like the crowd was like hostile. So I made fun of him. I was like, I don't know what the hell they're doing in Australia, just because he's from Australia.
Right.
I was trying to make excuses for him, and that made them laugh. I wasn't making fun of him, but I definitely brought to attention.
Well, because there was a fucking
shifting
shitload of
gears.
attention. Put a pin in the balloon.
Yeah, because there's an elephant in the room,
And oddly
he's
enough-
Australian.
Oddly enough, they went to a comedy club to laugh, and you fucking had the audacity to make them laugh.
Yeah,
After
right?
the previous
Yeah.
guy maybe didn't try.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I would never. Yeah, no way. It's also I'm not.
That comic you're talking about
is
is also pretty insecure and also been doing comedy a long time.
The guy making fun of me?
Yeah, he's not that funny at all. So, and it's a good thing I wasn't there. It would have made me a little angry.
Yeah.
I don't like that bullshit. Also, you worry about yourself because you got a lot of work to do yourself, even though you've been doing comedy a long time. I know who you're talking about. Guy's not that good.
I've never been. You know what? I've not been the victim of comedy club backbiting that I'm aware of.
No.
I came in a much better way. I was already established doing something
Yeah.
else and like slowly built up
You've
to a
earned
place. I guess, but like I remember Seth Rogen at one point. He was working on that Judd Apatow movie, the stand-up movie, which I forget the title.
Funny
of, right?
People.
Bang,
One of my
Funny
favorite
People.
movies. Adam Sandler.
Wonderful flick. So Seth goes, I had to go up on stage in advance of the movie to prep and stuff. So, we went and did comedy gigs and whatnot. And he's like, and I realized that first 7-8 minutes, I'm just cruising on, hey, it's him. He's
Yeah.
been in movies. He's going, but about after that, man, if you're not fucking funny, they will let you know. They don't give a fuck
100%.
who you are.
That's right.
They
I've always
do
been
not
worried
care.
about that. Like,
I watched
that's
Michael
my big
Richards. I
fear.
watched that happen to Michael Richards. He'd get on stage, Kramer from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And he would get on stage, and people were like, yay! But Michael Richards wasn't a comic. Michael Richards had been doing stand-up. Michael Richards, wonderful actor, but not a comic.
He also didn't work
And-
on it, right? But he wasn't writing.
Not really, not from what I could tell. And he would get up there,
saw him
and
once,
he
too.
decided, I'm going to try to do stand-up, and take my performance, very good performer, but it just would get quiet in 5 minutes, and I mean quiet
Really?
and bad to the point where I just couldn't watch. And in fact, the night that he had that incident
Yeah.
at the Laugh Factory,
the famous
I had
incident.
closed the
Improv.
earlier show,
Right?
No, the Laugh Factory.
Is it
Oh no,
Laugh Factory?
Rogan.
The
was
next
at
guy on-
Rogan was at the Improv. You were at the early. Laugh
The next
Factory.
guy on stage after me, I believe, was Michael. And I remember, and I had a bad experience and I've worked with him since. He's great, but I don't think he's a racist. I think what happened was he started to have another one of those bad sets. And I remember I went, I got to get out of here because I don't want to watch him not do well.
Right.
I just didn't want to see it. It's uncomfortable.
Can I ask
'Cause the crowd's so excited.
A question?
Yeah.
If you're having a bad set, or do you have to hang in there?
I believe if you're having a bad set, look, I've been doing it so long that I have such a bag of tricks that I'm not going to have a bad set. Not to
Right.
be a dick. I got too many
You can
tricks.
go back,
agree.
you can bring out the old.
I got
you
a
can do
thousand
that.
things.
A guitar.
Yeah.
Give me
I
music.
agree. I'm
But
always
sometimes-
overly prepared.
Yeah,
myself.
sometimes
I
the
try to
audience
be.
is just not listening to your music.
Right.
And I think what you have to do then is slow down, not speed up. A lot of people speed up. You slow down, you kind of acknowledge what's going on, and then you just kind of, I guess,
You button it kind of.
Yeah. You just kind of like have to go, hey guys, this is how it goes. If I have to slow down and do my jokes, I've done that when I did a joke and they didn't laugh because I was starting to lose and they were just in this mood. And I did the joke again, but I did it deliberately.
Right.
You guys didn't get this. Hold on, let me try it again. And I got them back. So there are ways for me. I mean, I have my thing, but
He didn't have that. That
he
toolkit
didn't
wasn't
have any
available.
of that.
to
So
him.
what happened was there was a black guy who started to heckle him, who was up there, and
panicked.
he decided to start dropping N-bombs, which of course you never do under any circumstances, because it's not, forget all the racist stuff. It's also just mean.
But it was
It's
his.
also
It was
just shitty.
But it's also like how on fucking God's green earth do you think that's a way out of the
I
hole?
agree. This is
Who
got-
sees that
he got-
as a rope or a ladder?
This
got
was your
mad.
panic cord,
Yeah,
like
that's
the N bomb.
That's your jetpack.
Drop the N bomb. Phew.
Yes.
Well, you just dropped an atomic bomb, sir, that
Yes.
you're never going to recover from.
That's right. And so what happened was, I think that he got so mad, and I had heard that he had gotten mad a couple of nights before. Like I had heard, the word was that he had, whether this is true or not, I had heard that I think at the Comedy Store somewhere, somebody started to heckle him and he freaked out on the guy and
Whose
walked
fault
off
is
stage.
that, though?
Of
Like,
course.
if it
Never blame
happens
the audience.
once, shit happens.
Yeah.
If it's a reoccurring theme,
Yes.
it might be time to take a little break, maybe go write some stuff and come
Exactly.
Self-correct.
You can't fake
Yes.
stand-up. You can't fake
back.
it.
No one can.
Nobody can fake it. That's why I love fighting and I like comedy. You can't fake either one. You can't fake fighting. Yeah, I don't care who your publicist, who your agent is. I don't care how much hype you have. When you step into that cage,
gotta
like
be
he
who
did,
you are.
if you don't have the tools, the MMA guards do not care how much people like you. You're
Right.
going to sleep. And comedy's the same thing. You can get away. You're super famous. Tom Cruise would get up there. We'd be so excited for 5 minutes. I promise you, in 5 minutes, it'd get quiet.
Well, look at to your point. Look at Charlie Sheen. Remember when he was like, "I'll do stand up,
Classic.
Tiger Blood,"
The classic
and then he did
example.
one, and then word got out like that was terrible. And he had a sold out Detroit show, and people were walking out, booed him off stage.
I remember
and he
that.
got up there, was like, "I don't have anything." They're like, "Well, we paid."
And
for
that
this.
to me is the easiest thing in the world. Like I remember like when me and Ralph started the Babylon podcast. First we started at a little theater on Santa Monica for about a year. We called Smod Castle, which was where we wound up being a lab. That's where we built the Jay and Silent Bob Get Old podcast, and Babylon came from there as well. So soon it became clear that like it was only a 50-seat theater, and it's like Ralph was on the radio every morning, so we had this wonderful engine built in where he was locally very strong, and I was outside of Los Angeles strong. He could put asses in seats here in Los Angeles, and since it was a podcast disseminated to the world, I can introduce, ladies and gentlemen, here's my friend Ralph Garman, who you wouldn't know unless you live in California and Los Angeles and listen to K-Rock. So it became clear we could sell more tickets. So I said, if you can find us another home, take us there. And remember, John Lovitz had the comedy theater up at Universal City Walk. He went up there and made a deal for us to bring the show up there. So I got to meet Lovitz and spend time with Lovitz over the course of the time that we had the show there. And he was always very protective of his set. He would always talk about his set, and he went on the road and his hour show and blah, blah, blah. And I said, did you ever record it? Did you ever put it out there as a podcast? He goes, no, I can't do that. It's my set. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, that's everything. That's all my material. I'm not going to throw it away on a podcast. I was like, oh, maybe you don't get the medium. I said, hold on to your fucking set. That's totally fine. I said, but what you should be doing is just sitting down and fucking talking about being John Lovitz for the last 25, 30 years.
It's funny as shit.
Do you know how much currency there is?
Great
like,
story.
Brilliant.
Fuck trying to write a joke.
Yeah.
Fuck trying to write a setup punchline.
Tell
Be
some
like,
silent life
here's a story
stories.
about one time me and fucking Dana Carvey. You could do 20 minutes on Phil Hartman alone. Bring the house down.
100%.
End like that emotionally.
You're right.
So I was always pushing him. I was like, you don't quite get it yet. Like, comedy is malleable, and what you're doing is valid. You want to do it the old way about, going up there and here's my bit. That's great. But you can go throttle down, like ease up, Ripley.
There's
You're riding
layers,
metal.
right?
There's
There's
layers,
layers to
and
it.
he's got so much a lifetime of content. He's like, who cares about that? I was like, that's all anybody cares about anymore,
God.
dude.
That's everything.
They don't want to hear your idea of a fucking joke up front. They want to look backstage.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. He and I our rule is that when we do these live shows, we do an Instagram video. It's just, does it make us laugh? Like, is it cracking us up?
Yesterday we made
was
one.
the dumbest
I could not
fucking thing.
stop laughing, man. Me and him were just being.
We just sit down. They want us to make a promo video. They're like, make a promo video about the truck there in
Truckadero,
Philadelphia. We're going to be there. And
What is it called?
It's called the
Oh,
Truckadero.
the Trocadero. You go on
Yeah.
the truck.
Yeah.
I love that place.
Yeah,
I've
this-
been there too.
this
We're
Friday-
we're on the same circuit.
Oh, yeah?
love it.
Yeah.
This
That's
Friday,
where we do Babylon. in
Saturday, we're at D.C. at the 930 Club. Have you done that club?
Not yet, no,
I
no.
haven't either. We haven't either.
Washington, D.C.?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Washington, D.C.
Trying to think where I've been there. Is there a church in town that I've done? It's got pews, hard pews. I think there are. I forget the name of the venue. Maybe it's not a church. It's a synagogue. Fuck, I forget. I played a place. I think it was in Washington. I think they called it synagogue or something like that. And it's a synagogue like fucking 6 days of the week, and one night of the week
What?
they let it be a venue.
That's funny.
And so the place was fucking packed, but people were literally sitting on hardwood benches for I don't.
That's amazing.
That
I
sounds
go
awesome.
2-3 hours, sometimes 4 hours.
Damn.
And motherfuckers
Damn,
sitting
you
in
go 4
benches
hours.
going like, I'm done.
Dude,
with
my
this.
ass is numb.
Yeah, exactly.
You
better be
you
good.
know a lot about. I'd say you probably know a lot about religion. You certainly read the Bible, probably the Old Testament.
I was a Catholic school student, altar boy. Yeah, I am.
And when you did Dogma, you got a shitload of
trouble.
Yeah, like
we
trouble.
were
How?
kind
Oh,
of
dude.
we were grist for the somewhat political mill, not politics like Republicans and conservatives and Democrats, but there's a group called the Catholic League, run by a guy named Bill Donahue, his self-appointed job was to go after any media that had depictions of Catholics that he felt was insulting, demeaning, or didn't agree with. Wow. So we were a Disney movie originally by way of the fact that Miramax had Dogma first, and Miramax was owned by Disney. Wow. So this guy was like, we're going after Disney. He's making this anti-Jesus movie. How dare they? And blah, blah, blah. And so at one point, Disney, Michael Eisner told Harvey and Bob Weinstein, the guys that run Miramax and Dimension back then, when it was owned by Disney, you have to get rid of this movie because it's too much of a hot potato. So Harvey and Bob bought it and distributed it through Lionsgate. We were like the first Lionsgate movie to ever make. So they said you had to
get rid of the movie.
Damn. Yeah, they were like, this is a polemic.
Think about that.
Get this the fuck out of here. So the Catholic League whipped up a lot of controversy. There was a group called the American Society for the Protection of Tradition, Family, and Property, I think it was called.
Way too long.
Yeah, way too long. Way too much to remember and shit.
Too long.
And also the property thing. I'm like, what the fuck? How does this movie wreck your yard? Like, fucking leave your yard out of it. But we got hate mail, 400,000 pieces of hate, 300,000 pieces of hate mail.
This was before email and Twitter and all that.
You actually,
so you had to put in some effort. It wasn't like you just get on Twitter like, you suck.
Yeah, or like you're going to hell.
Write a letter, mail it.
Drop it off like an asshole.
Catholic League made it easy,
before
though.
Stamps.com came along.
They'd give you a fucking blank postcard to just check a box if you're angry, and then that counted.
Wow.
But some of the letters were like literally handwritten and stuff, and the one that I always quote, because I still remember, I memorized it, because I was like, that movie Dogma has a rubber poop monster in it. I just want to remind you. So
a rubber poop monster.
There's a rubber poop monster in the movie, and there's a fucking letter we got, and it said, you Jews better take that money you stole from us and start investing in flak jackets because we're coming in there with shotguns. Love your brothers in Christ. And
Jews.
Oh my Lord.
So intense.
It was very intense. And
also,
my first thought was like, well, thank God I'm not Jewish. And Harvey and Bob were like, but we are, and they were very upset. It was weird. I saw the underbelly of religious fervor.
Yikes.
Long before we saw it in a far more
It's alive
public
and well.
example.
It's alive and well in many, many parts of this world. It's still very much alive and well.
It just seems so. In post September 11th, there's really only one religion that most people kind of associate with people getting up in arms and stuff.
Islam.
But there was a minute back in the day when, like, they were some of the scariest people you knew were Christians or
people
Catholics.
Forget that Catholics and Protestants killed each other
first time I learned the word terrorism was about the IRA.
Yeah, and before that, after the Reformation, it was just it was horrific wars between the Catholics and Protestants.
We lost a lot of people. People were like, stop getting political.
Well, no. The point is that
talk about the cum trench. Let me tell you about the cum trench, kids.
Let's get to the cum trench, kids.
That's where we're all gonna dive right in.
The human brain behaves predictably.
There it is. It's the answer I should have had.
The human brain behaves very predictably, regardless of what faith you adhere to. We're pretty much, a lot of us have the same brain. We think the same way. We're human. Should we go to some current events with Kevin Smith? I'd like to get his point of view on some stuff here.
Fuck yeah, man.
All right, the first one is actually very sad. This 20-year-old girl died from doing a pancake eating contest at her university.
Are you fucking shitting me?
No. And this is even crazier because someone else died from doing a donut eating contest at Voodoo Donuts in Denver.
Are you fucking
my hometown, my favorite donut store?
Wait, Voodoo Donuts is in Denver as well?
Yeah, you bet your sweet ass.
I thought they started
they're out here now,
they're up at City Walk.
In Portland, right?
But I thought they started in Portland. So they opened one, and then they went to Colorado National.
She's just gorgeous.
Very pretty,
donuts.
They're amazing, dude.
Her dad died
first time
9/11.
Come on, look at this body. He's built by fucking donuts.
Bro.
I'm a total donut guy. Dude, but wait a second. Let's go back to this because this is terrifying to me. Both of these activities that killed both of these people.
They died the same day. Two different
By the way,
places.
she's from New Jersey, Clark, New Jersey. So that's a local. You hate to see anybody die, let alone a Jersey girl.
As well.
But these two people have died doing something that I have taken for granted and done many times in my life without ever a single thought for like this could kill me other than, well, down the road, heart
down
disease.
the road. Diabetes later on.
Now this is a whole new set of fears to add to. What happened? Just choked?
They both choked.
And no one knows
No
CPR.
one could fucking
no
pump
the
him out.
Heimlich.
So they tried Heimlich maneuvers on both of them, but it just didn't work.
First
And then
of
they
all,
tried to
first of all,
dislodge it.
yeah.
Isn't it that moment?
That's it.
Isn't that when you're supposed to cut a fucker's throat open?
Yeah.
I've seen that on a Young and the Restless once.
Yeah, you had to tracheotomy.
Yeah, you could do it like so that
Well,
you open an air passage.
And you take a big pen. Or,
Yes!
Yes.
You stick it in
I've
there
seen
and you
that
breathe
movie.
through it.
Yes.
Yeah, because otherwise
I'm
you'd
just going
have-
to take a pen like Pulp Fiction. Freaking
right, the fucking
dude.
throat. People
Yeah.
like you missed.
However,
you had her
though,
ear.
you got to make sure it didn't go all the way down. Sometimes it might be even further down. I think.
Well,
Either
well,
way.
couldn't you just reach into the throat and like really get nasty and gnarly? in
No,
there?
because it's down
tell-
beyond where you can reach.
I tell you, if I was ever uncomfortable with someone reaching into my throat, if you see me at death's door,
Yeah.
fist me right down the throat, up the ass. I don't
Well,
care.
I do not
get
care.
inside
I'm
me.
If
gonna
your
do it
hand is
anyway.
too
And take
big
it
and you
out,
have to
yeah.
use a dick, I do not care.
That's it.
I am free game. I want to be alive.
Done and done.
Done.
You know what?
done.
And all bullshit aside, we should practice this, and I'll tell you why. You sink to the level of
Practice,
your training.
yes.
You sink to the level of your training in
Explain
an
that
emergency.
phrase.
Because people think that there's an emergency. I'm gonna do the right thing. No, you're gonna panic and go to your happy place. The way you fucking prepare for an emergency, they always tell you practice dialing 911 because people can't see the numbers in an emergency.
Are you shitting
That's
me?
a fact and a very common thing. You sink to the level of your training. You're not going to fight better if you get punched in the face unless you've been trained how to throw.
So you're saying we should fist each
That's
other?
why. No, that's why. And this, don't be weird about
Can
this.
I shoot this?
I'm going to put my dick in both your mouths. Here's why.
Okay.
Because I'm going to practice pushing.
As long as there's a good reason.
I'm going to practice pushing the food back all the way down
Okay.
your throat. And you
Okay.
guys have to be
So it's
relaxed.
helping us. It's helping us.
Obviously, it's helping you.
Dude, you're
and
so
in case,
generous.
I'm here to help.
Just don't leave anything behind when you're done.
And also I have such a hard on right now, and you couple cum trenches.
They both come trenches?
Not to be aggressive, but you
No,
guys.
there's only one
the way you
trench.
said it so tenderly,
No, no,
almost.
no,
You
I'm just-
come trench.
No, listen, you guys.
You
listen.
soften up for that.
You guys cum trenches.
This is dude. Voodoo Donuts. I guarantee you, he's eating the cake donut. You know how thick that cake donut is? Because there's a raised donut, which is like the
Best.
kind of
I like
light
the
raised
chocolate.
puffy donut. Then there's the cake. You know what I'm talking about here?
Yes.
Kevin? Yes.
Oh, come
I'm
on.
a
Look at
cake
me.
guy.
I'm a
cake
fat man.
guy.
I know everything you're talking
What's your
about. especially when
favorite?
it comes
What's
to
your favorite
donuts.
food? What can't you
What
say
a
no
great
to?
question. Probably my whole life I would say peanut butter, but
Oh wow! I didn't think you were going to go there.
yeah, peanut butter. But I realized within the last maybe 2 years
Yeah.
that it doesn't have to necessarily be a bad thing. Like most peanut butter I was used to has sugar in it and stuff, but now you just grind peanuts like at a Whole Foods and
Or
shit.
just get almond butter, bro. It's
I
better.
don't like it. What do you mean, better tasting?
Yeah, I like the graininess of the almond.
Now I got to give it a
Peanuts-
try. I've never been
peanuts-
an almond guy.
Peanuts
Me
are
neither.
sweet.
And I
love
tried
almond
cashew butter, but I
No,
'cause I
cashew
love
butter's
cashews.
some bullshit.
It blows, doesn't
No,
it?
almond butter's where it's
Nothing
at.
matches fucking peanut butter. I eat these snacks. This is going to sound like a commercial, but this is for fat people out there. And I guarantee you some in the audience are like, yeah, I like MMA, but I like fucking food too. So this goes for them.
Yeah.
If you're looking at snack, but you don't want to, like, something that has a gazillion ingredients, there's this thing called Bamba, comes out of Israel, is basically cheese doodles, but no cheese, peanut butter instead. And there's 4 ingredients, dude. It's like corn, peanuts, salt, and oil. You know how many fucking ingredients are in Fritos?
About 27.
It's a trick
trillion.
question. 3. Literally 3. Corn, oil, and salt. Really, this is a commercial for Fritos.
Oh, that's interesting.
Isn't that weird?
That's what this whole podcast has been about.
Brought to you by
Eat
Fritos.
It's
you know what else
it's
about
vegan
Fritos
as well. They're vegan.
You know what else about
What?
Fritos that people
Yeah,
don't
they're
realize?
vegan.
Best thing about Fritos?
Go.
Amazing kindling for starting a fire. So if you're camping and you want kindling, fuck your dry wood. Get yourself some Fritos. They burn for a long time and they're outstanding for starting a fire. Why
Are you
do I
working
know
a
that?
bit? Are you working a
did it?
bit?
Nope. Did it in Alaska when I was hunting. Now, when I say I did it,
Someone
I didn't.
told you.
I watched my friend do it.
Some
Who's a
macho.
master
He's a
hunter.
hunter. Yes.
But I was there, and in a way, I may or may not, can't remember exactly, I probably did light a Frito on fire and watched it burn slowly and added it to the kindling.
Like the snake firework.
right,
Also,
buddy.
with Fritos, what you can do is at 7-Eleven, and they'll let you do this for the most part. Depends. There's some seedy 7-Elevens. But you can get those Fritos, open that package up, go on over to the nacho tray, put the nacho cheese in there with the chili. I used to do it.
Now, you're talking about a former fat kid over here. You
Still
understand?
fat. Still
Yeah.
fat kid.
Yeah.
I still have fat kid
Former.
tendencies.
Some of us are fucking committed for life, son.
Yeah, well,
Former.
I like your
slackers.
dedication.
Hey man, you're being kind of
Dedication.
you're being kind of condescending, Kevin.
Little bit,
You're being
bit.
kind of like one of the cool kids right now.
You fucking
I'm surprised,
normies.
but I'm surprised
Normies.
more people haven't died from these eating contests. Like, have you ever seen
Let's read it.
Kobayashi deep throat
Exactly.
about 7 hot dogs at the same time?
Yeah, and that don't even look fucking enjoyable.
No.
man. Like if you got to soak
Water.
a fucking hot dog in water with the bun and water, that ain't fun. Early morning on Sunday, April 2nd, a man died in the lobby of Voodoo Donut Mile High after taking on a donut speed-eating challenge. 42-year-old was later identified as Travis Malouf at the Denver Office Medical Examiner due to asphyxia due to obstruction of the airway. Poor son of a bitch.
I hope it was the glazed or the.
He was in the middle
chocolate.
of a challenge involved eating a half-pound donut in 80 seconds or less.
Have you seen that donut?
No.
They have a donut. It's on there. Yeah, you get something if you eat it. I think you might get it for free, but you're also going to shit your pants. It's so big. It's this thick-ass glazed donut. It's usually at the top. You know how they have that little like carousel in there, like going around? It's at the top of there. Yeah. It like glows, and there's like lights on it.
So that's the mountain. That's
you guys,
Everest.
You know what's weird?
Killed him.
Witnesses said 2 people rushed to help him, but they were not able to perform the Heimlich maneuver to save his life.
Did you miss elementary school? I mean, we all learned that.
Well, you know what I'm going to do? I swear to God, as you guys were talking, I was like, I'm going to Google how to perform a tracheotomy.
With a pen?
It's
yep,
good.
And I'm going to YouTube it. I'm going to learn these things. I want to watch it on YouTube, and I'm going to rehearse it.
Think about this. It's a donut culture now. This might happen more and more. So it's good to have that kind of information.
100%. It's just good to know what to do in an emergency, certain things. Like I said to this guy he was a military guy, and he teaches hand stuff with guns and stuff. And I said, I want a gun. I was after one of these shootings. I said, I want a gun. And he said, I want to carry one. And he said, why? I said, in case there's a mass shooting, I want to be, if I'm with my kids at a mall, I want to have an answer. I don't want to be running for cover. And then he said, okay. And he said, well, I would suggest you study it. And I go, I've shot, I think I'd rise to the occasion. I rehearse it in my brain. He goes, that's true. And he goes, so go ahead. How would you do it? And I raise up with my gun, and all of a sudden he grabs me around the waist and starts moving me in 2 directions. And I go, what are you doing? And he goes, oh, well, your kids are going to grab you around the waist. And one might be running one direction, and the other one might be pulling in this direction. Either way, they're not going to move, and they're going to be clung to you like fucking a sweater, like pants, like lead pants. Now what do you do?
Let me tell you what
little details where you go, I didn't fucking think about that. Yeah.
You know what I get out of that I ever thought about? You hang out with a lot of dudes that touch each other all fucking time.
Yes.
Men feel free to put hands on other men.
Yep.
They
around
grab
you.
them all the time.
You're swinging them around. This is what your kids do, right?
My
You're
buddy
like, no,
Kevin.
not at all.
Let me ask you
Who works
this.
on the Goldbergs.
Yeah.
If your buddy gets behind you while you're shooting, just wraps around your waist, and he's just rock hard. Excitement.
Huh?
He's
Did
like,
you ever
what
think
if you
about that?
feel?
No.
What if
Can you
feel
feel
the fucking
that?
chub in the
Can you
small of
feel
your
that in
ass?
your ass?
Another episode of Cum Trench.
This week's cum trench.
This
Small
week's
shooting gets wrong.
The right kind of shooting.
Yeah.
The kind where there is no victim.
The right kind of shooting, as in wide arcs of glory.
We're talking face shot.
Fire right in the chest.
God.
And live to tell about it.
The cum meter just hit red hot with Kevin Smith on Cum Trench.
Shoot me in the eye and I never have to replace. I don't have to wear a patch.
Yeah.
What else you got, Chin?
Sorry, guys.
That sucks. These people died. At least
I
they
can't
did it
believe you
eating
brought me
some
on the
fun.
show to give me bad news about food I like. Fuck you guys. Couldn't it have been a story about like broccoli kills another? And I'm like, there you go. Fuck
That's
them.
why I don't eat that
broccoli.
shit.
Exactly.
Broccoli, the hidden killer.
Now I got to drive home going like, you better stay away from donuts. They're trying to get us all.
You know what's weird? This makes me want to go to Voodoo Donuts.
Fuck.
I'm honestly like, I feel my heart goes out to the family of both of these people,
Terrible,
obviously.
man.
But that being said, I think I could take this challenge.
Hey, man.
80 seconds?
Really?
Are you
That
fucking
is
serious?
flying.
Are you kidding me?
Dude, that's hard.
What is it
Wait
again?
till you
Hold
see
on.
the donut. Can you bring that
Half
donut
a
up,
pound
Chin?
of dough.
I don't have the picture of it.
If you type in,
What are the rules?
If you type
80
in
seconds?
Voodoo, if you Google Voodoo Donut, donut challenge or something, or the
Oh my God! There's a heading for voodoo donut deaths, meaning this has happened before.
it says Voodoo Donut Suspend Challenge.
I need to see it.
probably
There it
this
is
guy,
to the
right?
Okay,
left.
so yeah, over there they can see. Oh, there's a guy holding it, so we got it for scale.
Right there, homeboy eating it right there.
Now, how many? 80 seconds?
80 seconds.
I can do that, dude.
Really?
Oh, come on.
Seriously?
Come the fuck on. And I'm not saying this to like rub in the face of the poor dude that died. I'm not saying I wouldn't choke to death.
Right.
But I'm saying I could do that in 80 seconds.
You'll give it a good old New Jersey
Gone
try.
in 80 seconds, the new movie.
That's impressive.
Fucking
Gone in
never
80
mind
seconds.
cars and shit.
Dude,
It's
look
all
at
about.
that.
The size of
It's
your
as
head.
big as a face.
Yeah.
I've practiced my whole life for this.
All right. See? You can sink to the
I
level
was
of your
born
training.
for this.
You will sink to the level. There's
I
a
don't
book
need no
called-
glass of water to dip that shit in, man. I'll just eat it raw.
Yeah.
It looks nice.
It looks like, are you allowed to drink a drink during the challenge? Like, can you have a milk with it?
It
You can
appears
have a
people
milk.
have
You can
drinks.
have a milk
You have
with it.
80 seconds, though, so you really don't have time to reach for that
Clearly,
cold
it can't
beverage.
kill you, though, right? They couldn't sell you something that could kill you. If
You mean
ate that
after you
much
finish
donut.
it?
Yeah.
Nah, you'd be good.
You'll
Nah,
be
you'd be
all
good. I mean, your
You'll be shitting
pancreas,
bricks for a while.
will
You
be
look like
I
a
can't
snake
produce
that
any
ate a
more
goat for a
insulin.
while,
That's
but
true. It's just like
You get diabetes immediately afterwards.
Could you get a sugar-free donut? Could you ask for that?
That wouldn't matter. All that dough.
Becomes sugar.
Yeah.
plus
Also,
the sugar-free stuff is usually worse for you than the sugar.
also, if you eat
That's
sugar-free
true.
donuts, fuck you.
I
Yeah.
agree.
If you're gonna do a donut, do a donut.
Yeah, do a
Fuck
donut.
yes. What else
I
you
only
got?
watch porn where I don't see penetration. Kiss my ass.
Dude, I saw a porn the other day I was watching. They freaking blurred out the penis.
Oh, my
Some
Lord.
Japanese shit.
Yeah, it's outrageous.
Oh, in Japan, they don't show the organs. It's weird. You could show panties. You could show. There's a game show on Japan where a dude has to sing a song while being jerked off.
I've seen that show.
And there's a
What?
bar covering it, so you can't see
What?
it. But
I've
there's a
seen that
woman
show.
standing there jerking him off. And then at the end, like the round ends when the dude comes. I swear to Christ, it's true.
I've seen
round
that show.
ends when the dude comes. How far you get into the song depends on how much money you make. And then they cut to the cum on the floor afterwards.
Oh my
What
God.
the fuck?
Because you could show fluids, but you can't show pubic hair in Japan, and you can't show penetration.
So fucking weird.
The one I saw, the guy was
Weird
like,
line.
"Hit me with your best shot, far away," and then it was like over. So
I
I've
don't
seen
even know
the
if I
show.
could be hard on
I
television.
don't know what
I'd
that
have to see how hot
is.
the girl is.
But still, too much is going on. Spinning too many plates. I'm singing.
is-
I'm trying to remember the words to Pat Benatar's "Hit Me with Your Best Shot."
Yeah.
While a beautiful woman is, or maybe even not, while anybody is jerking me off on fucking TV,
Jerking
while the
off
whole
ain't
audience
work.
is trying to see and they're judging my
But you're
cock
covered by
size.
a
But
box,
so there's-
right? You're
there's
covered
a
by a
bar.
box.
Yeah, but you know that some in the upper, like the cheap seats can see the dick. That's the rumor.
There's a bar. This is so fucked up in Japan. It used to be there. I don't know if out anymore, but where the corporate guys would go, where you would have drinks, and then the girl would go under the table, and all of you would be getting your dicks sucked while you're having a beer, and they would have a towel, and then you'd lose it, and then they'd wipe you off. Now think about that job for those women. Think about that, and that was a
Now
bar.
think about our
When it
bullshit
comes to
bars
that-
here in LA.
That's
Brendan,
yeah, I was
Brendan,
just
that's
thinking
not the
like
point, Brendan.
I'm thinking basically if you get a donut place.
Get your dick sucked
And
too.
get your dick sucked while you're eating a donut? Fuck Voodoo Donuts. We're the richest
Yes,
people in the
I
world.
agree. This is a gold
Would you
mine
call
here.
it cum trench?
No,
Yeah!
no, you can't call it cum trench because I was like, well, I don't
no,
want to
no,
eat a
cum
donut
trench
there.
donut.
But that's
Oh
bold.
no, I know you call it donuts glazed twice.
I'm still
Glazed
sticking
and
with Cum
sucks.
Trench. Cum Trench is like Smuckers. With a name like Smuckers, it's got to be good. With a name like Cum Trench, this shit must be
we don't
brilliant.
glaze your
Sprinkle
donuts.
and-
We don't glaze your donuts. You do.
Nice.
See, I like sprinkles and suck. Sprinkles and you ever been to Sprinkles and Sucks? Yeah, there's guys with suits and stuff. At this donut
yeah.
shop. That'd be sick.
Wait, so go back to
Just
this
have
bar.
Instagram models.
Did it used to exist? Does it still exist?
I don't know if it still exists.
Brian,
but
is
I
this a
remember-
bar you've been to, my
No, it
friend?
never
You
was.
just
I
heard
was
about
in
it.
the red light district in Shinjuku, I think it was called, in Tokyo. I went there.
Hmm.
And I never, I was with my sister. And I was more concerned with protecting my sister and my buddy Roland.
Damn, so
who
was
had
it
lived there
your
and spoke
sister-in-law?
fluent Japanese. Well, I just was worried. I was
Question.
yeah.
What if your sister eats at the restaurant? Does she get blown as well?
I don't think so, and I don't think she's allowed
lick
in.
her
I
asshole.
don't think she's allowed in. And
No,
I was,
no.
Wow, but what if it was just one of the guys' situation where she was passing as a man and shit, and then she
Well-
got there and the dude went to blow, the chick went to blow under the table. She was like, "What? No dick."
No,
and
my-
she's
my
like,
sister-
"Aha,
my sister-
but you still gotta complete it."
No,
And
no,
she's like,
but-
"I never wanted to lick pussy.
I didn't want this. I didn't sign up for this.
I signed up to suck dick.
First of all, don't
fuck this. I
don't-
quit."
Yeah.
Turn around, I'll lick your asshole.
My sister has a huge cock, first of all. Second of all, don't say pussy. Say cunt.
My bad. My bad. You sound like my wife. She's like, "Don't say pussy, pussy." Say cunt. Like, I can't do that. It's too harsh. We're not in England.
We're not in England.
That is. I don't know if I could get blown while I was at a bar or at a dinner or anything. I can't. It's only one way I think I could get blown now. It's in my marital bed in my room.
It'd
with
also
the
be
curtain
awkward
shut.
with your buddies. Like, imagine if we had this podcast and you're getting sucked, and I'm like,
There you go.
The thing is,
I had a
bro,
hard enough time just sitting on the couch. Think I'm gonna get blown during this podcast?
You didn't want to stand though.
That's a good
so
point.
maybe
With a bar there, I could be like fucking Jim Morrison in that Doors movie. Remember at one point he was singing and he was getting
Yes.
blown by his girlfriend.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Get my
for
wife
both
in
of
here,
you.
man. I'm sure she'd be like, "Hi, nice meeting you. Nice meeting you."
Well,
She's like, "Why are we doing this podcast? Free podcast. Go to town."
go to town. Well, let me ask you this. Would you rather get blown standing, sitting, or lying down?
I can answer your question with the first few words. Would I rather get blown? Yes. I should have jumped in right there.
Yes.
Yeah, D, all of the above.
Yeah, really.
Don't give a flying
Really?
fuck.
Wait, one more time though. Standing.
Standing, kneeling, sitting.
Kneeling.
So am I giving it?
Kneeling.
Well, because the girl could be on her hands and knees on the bed, and then you're kneeling, and you're like, here you go, Merry Christmas.
Oh, I gift you this.
I gift you.
I prefer standing.
I gift you my rod.
I can't
even get the visual going because I was lost. I gift you this.
I gift you this.
Wait a
You're
second.
welcome.
You're kneeling?
So you're
and she's
kneeling or you're
kneeling?
standing. You can either be kneeling,
Kneeling on the bed.
Yep. Standing. on the
You
floor.
lost me with the double kneeling because I'm like, how
double
low can we
kneeling
go? It's like limbo blowjob.
makes no sense.
Yeah.
Well, because
Somebody can't be
if
kneeling.
she's on her hands and knees.
Or
some guys
he,
like to see
be
that
fair,
angle.
be fair.
Or he, but man, let's just talk about women. Guys want to see that angle. She's on her hands and knees, and then you're kneeling, and you're like, there you go, hourglass. Or if you're standing, she's going to be on her knees, and you're going to see a downward.
Standing.
See, it depends
Do you
on
refer
standing
to
all
her
day.
as Hourglass as a nickname?
Yeah,
or is
I call her hourglass. And,
Hourglass.
Yeah, but after this podcast, and
Which can only be whispered.
yeah, it's only going to be whispered.
It's
from
like
now on.
Voldemort's name. You can't say it out loud.
Yeah.
People get real scared. Moguls get crazy.
I think it all depends on your personality because sometimes sitting you feel like the king.
Never.
Had a long day.
I feel like Jabba the Hutt when I'm sitting.
Yes.
I gotta get blown laying down. It's period. That's
you
it.
do?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
I'd
gotta be
say
laying down.
standing. Standing all day.
Standing though means that like she's going to be working under the sun porch, so to
Exactly.
speak, and then so she ain't going to see me. She's going to look up and a flab hat's going to be in her eyes. So if I'm laying
Flab
down,
hat.
if I'm laying down, that's like the best angle for that activity
Because
for
everyone
me.
can see.
Yeah,
Yeah, see, I'm built like a statue. So for me, I'm not looking at her. I'm just looking at myself.
That's
and I'm
right, the
going,
whole
at 50, I still got it.
you're like, you know how I come? Looking at myself.
Yeah. Look at how 10 hut this bad boy
I'm
is.
glad to have helped, but I got to bring it. I got to finish it. What is it? The training? What's the line?
What's that?
Fucking remember? No, not remember your training. What
You
is it?
sink to the level of your training.
Sink to your level of your training.
You always sink to the level of your training. I think that's
That's how you ask for a
Grossman.
blowjob. You're like, I'd like you to sink to the level of your training.
There's a book called On Combat and On Killing, and it's by Colonel Grossman, I believe his name is, but he's a combat guy, and he talks about the psychology.
Hey, bro, you can't talk about getting your dick sucked and then quote this great general.
You really, that
fuck.
wasn't about face, man.
Colonel, you're right, and I stand.
180
you got,
degrees
Jen?
from good times.
Thank you for your service,
to
Colonel.
the military.
The next one is an 18-year-old model. She's a virgin, and she found an agency to help her find a guy to pay millions for her first time. And they found a dude in Hong Kong that paid $2.5 million.
$2.5 million.
Yeah.
And he has to fly out there first class.
She
There's
American?
an agency
better.
that takes care of everything, and they take
this
like
legal?
Yeah.
it's wherever they're at.
She's
It's legal.
18?
Yeah, 18 from Romania.
But isn't that essential? If you pay someone for sex, that's prostitution, right?
In a lot of countries, it's fine.
I'm sure there's areas you can do this though, just like the red light district and all that.
I think she's an entrepreneurial young lady, and I bet you she's going to be a very wealthy woman in one way or another.
See, I would beg to differ. I would say this movie doesn't end well.
No?
After this, yeah.
No,
Well,
I'm going to say she's maybe smart enough to take the money and invest it in her future, and that's
Yeah.
the last time she'll ever have to. That was her
parents said they
indecent
would-
proposal.
Yeah, her parents said they would disown her for it, but she
the
looks
company takes
fantastic.
20%, so $500K. So she's getting $2 million after taxes. You're not living forever.
Somebody got $500K for introducing her to the person.
Well, they set it all up.
Yeah, there's an agency that she went to do this.
I'm a fan.
Government do take a bite, don't she? 20%. Fuck.
Government take a bite.
Yeah, and then they got taxes. So she's probably taking home. What do you think? 1.6.
Oh,
Still.
sure. It's that's a beautiful payday.
How long is it? How long? Like 2 hours, a night? What
Probably a night. Let me ask you,
You gotta
guys.
sleep with the guy?
Let me ask you, fuckers. $1.6 million, and this is after taxes and everything. That's in your
Coming
bank
up my
account.
rump hole.
For real, what would you do for it? That's a lot of money.
I do. Well, it depends. What are they asking? I'm not going to propose things because they're like, oh shit, we just wanted a hand job. But you're giving up the ass already, so we're going to fuck you in the ass. I'm like, why didn't I let them talk first?
We were just looking for a hand
Couple
job from
caveats
Kevin.
and fine
Yeah.
print, sir. Kevin, couple
I don't
caveats.
show my cards,
$2
man.
million hand
What's
job.
on the table, for God's sake?
What are they asking for
And,
1.6?
all seriousness, you gotta make love to that man, and he's gotta.
Wait, so I'm the one? I'm the
kiss
top?
You. He's gonna. Nah,
I'm the power top?
He's gonna kiss you. He's gonna have your knees on his shoulders, and he's gonna bury it deep while he's making out with you, face to face. See, a lot of guys think that anal sex for men is just you're not looking
Facing away,
No,
so
you're looking face to face.
You got to look at what's going on.
You're looking face to face. He wants to look down at that
That's
baby bird.
so savage.
And he
That
also
is
wants to look you right in
you're
the
talking about that
eyes.
savage
Hey, I'm
fuck.
talking about 1.6 after taxes, brother. That's a lot of money. And
for
you're-
for $2.5 million, which he's paying out,
Yeah.
you know he wants to like make constant eye contact going, oh, this is happening.
My girlfriend experience, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, first of all, 2.5. We going anal for your first time.
Of course we are.
Oh,
Yeah.
2.5?
For this guy or this girl?
This girl.
Oh, I would imagine. I would imagine the unsavory aspects were left out of the article, but I'm sure that was part of
There's
the
all
negotiated.
kinds.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's the Wild West. You get off that plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
You
going,
might get there. It might be him and the homies. You have no idea.
We're going to town.
I would have negotiated him like, somebody's got to be there to keep eyes on and stuff like that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like someone outside security outside
But what
the
would
door.
you do? Like as a I mean, if you were broke.
How
let's
odd.
think
I have a
about broke.
17-year-old daughter, and I'm sitting here going, I would go crazy. I'd be so mad, or I wouldn't. But yet I was sitting there going, 1.6? I'd take it in the ass. He can look me right in the eyes. He can call me Silent Bob. I don't give a fuck. Oh, my God. I will make love to him for 1.6 million. I know how hard it is to make that money. It's
a lot of
this
money.
This little girl, she don't understand
No.
how fucking hard it is to make that kind of money.
That's a lot of money.
Too,
I put on the performance of a lifetime. They'd give me an Oscar at the end of that night.
I would.
That guy was like, I've never felt so tenderly
Guy's like,
loved
what the
and cared for, suckled at. He redefined lovemaking for me.
I'll tell you this. I'll be honest with you. I'm a straight man. I suck a dick. I suck a mean dick for 1.6.
That's as far as you go?
I suck a dick. I get down on that dick and I smile doing it. And I look you in the eye while I'm doing it. I'll be on my knees.
Yeah.
I'll be. You can lie down. You can get on your knees.
I can grab your ears like fucking motorbike
Do whatever the
handles
fuck.
and fuck
motorbike.
your
You can
mouth.
give me cauliflower ears. You can traumatize my ears. 1.6. Fuck you. And I'll do. And
You're
I'll
not
tell you
doing
something.
stand up for a
And
little bit because I'm gonna
I don't
fuck
give a
that
fuck.
throat up.
Hey, I'd be like, fuck you, and bring your dick over here. 1.6. Put it on the ground. There's nothing you could do. I'd laugh at you while you were banging
Brian,
my
I'm
ass.
gonna ruin
I'd
your
laugh
career
at you.
because I'm gonna have video and be slapping my dick in your
That's one
face.
thing. That's one thing I can't allow.
Go like this,
Sir.
Go like this. Hey everyone,
You're out of line.
come see Brian
You're
get
out of
out
line.
the Trucadero.
Brendan,
He'll be
you're-
there Friday night.
Brendan, you're out of line. You're out of line right now. That's where I
You don't
draw
think
the
about
line.
that.
Dick slapping is where you draw the line?
Look at her booty, by the way. That's an ass. Now listen.
Up until the moment you got slapped by the dick, you're all right with?
I'd be like, you want to slap me in the face? Shut
And
up.
record it?
Bring it, you bitch. No, you can't record it.
Bring it.
Bring it, you
it.
bitch.
I'd laugh at you. I'd be like, well, fuck, bring it. I'd be like, what are you going to do? Oh, my butt hurts. Shut the fuck up. Give me my 1.6. Give me my 1.6. I'll take an aspirin after that.
But
you
I have to be able to record it and put it on Instagram.
No, you're adding all this bullshit because
That's not
my
bullshit.
That's how you get up to
I
five.
I want viewers. I'm gonna get paid off.
No,
this.
that's that because now you're talking about my career and all that. I'm talking about behind closed
Sing a
doors.
different tune, aren't you?
Would you do that?
Sing
for
a different tune.
1.6 million.
Absolutely
million?
not. I would not.
You wouldn't do
I
it.
would not.
Nobody
In all
can see
seriousness,
it.
no.
I get to slap your mouth around.
No.
I get to put you in a fucking tutu. I dress you up like a ballerina. I twist those stupid ears to begin with, and I shut up. Look at me, and I go, "Hey, big boy, big brown boy, look me in the eye and thank me as I'm going to town." 1.6.
No.
Take that. You're a bitch. You know what?
Think
you know
about
what you
coming
are?
home.
You're
think about-
disappointed.
Think about coming back home to your family.
Shut the fuck.
Here,
Hey,
I'll make it
you're a
easy for you.
bitch.
I'll make it easy. You're
You're
too
a
aggressive.
bitch.
You're too aggressive.
Sorry.
Way too
You're too aggressive.
I'm
This is
getting
how
mad.
you sell it. This is how you sell it.
Okay, go ahead.
At the end of the day, dude, it is the greatest podcast story you'll tell for the rest of your life. It's content. You're in the content medium now, man. It's not all about like fucking scrapping and shit. You always have to have a story to tell. You would always have a story to tell if that happened. Like
Or
in
would I
back
lose
pocket
my
material.
fan base?
Listen to Kevin.
Maybe.
Listen to Kevin.
Maybe.
Hold on.
But you'd always have a go-to. Like if you lost the room and shit, you wouldn't have to do Michael Richards
Preach.
and start pulling out hate speech.
Preach.
All you can
Hate
literally do is be like, let me tell you, cats, the one time I made $2.5 million getting slapped in
And
the
they'd
face
be
with
like,
a dick.
"Oh yeah, this is a
Oh,
great
they would go
story.
nuts. They would
Yeah!
be like, this is a stairway to heaven. Close with it.
Close with this. It never gets old, you fuck."
You're the John Glenn of fucking Macho Man. You went somewhere first, tell us.
But
You have gay men like, woo!
Or you have straight men like, finally, he fucking took off the shackles of the breeders, and now we can fuck anyone. My friend Malcolm,
It's about time.
He's a big bear, and he was just like, you don't understand. When the day he told me he was gay, he's like, you don't get it, dude. He's going, you and me. He's going, I know you're just like me. You probably don't take your shirt off while you're fucking. I said, I don't even take my shirt off in the shower. And he goes, well, in the bear community, bears like the
Yeah,
gay dudes,
hairy
big,
dudes.
heavy, big dudes. He's like, they want the shirt off. They want the fat. They use the fat. I was like, how do they use the fat? They roll it together and you fuck the fat? And he goes, no, that's stupid. And he goes, when I'm getting fucking blown by a dude, he's going, I lift my gut up and I lay it on his fucking head. He's going, then I rub it back and forth, back and forth. I said,
Unbelievable.
get the fuck out out of here. He goes, they love it, dude. It's part of the eroticism. He's like, and then when I'm about to come, I pull my gut up, and when I come, I drop my gut on his fucking head. I was like, you don't get punched for this? He goes, I get loved for it. He's going, if you ever want to change, if you ever want to switch teams, he's going, you would be like Marilyn Monroe in the bear community.
Right now, I'm actually appalled. I'm appalled at the whole situation. I'm finally like speechless. I'm finally
That's 2.5 right there.
That's 2.5.
That is 2.5.
That was a solid sale.
Yeah, I couldn't have somebody resting their head on my. I'd be like,
But that's because you're fucking, as we go back to, you're a sizist. That's what comes down to.
I'm a sizist.
You're not welcome
You're
in
a
that
harmless
community.
sizist.
Kevin Smith just brought it fucking full circle.
You're not allowed to be in that community for that reason.
You'd be too like, it's too much.
Like, no, I just can't. You're
Brendan,
too hairy.
See, in your fantasy where you're getting plugged by this fucking Japanese millionaire for 2.5, he's thin, he's cut, you're sizing him up, you got his hand in the small,
Sure.
your hand in the small of his
But I
back
don't
going,
have a big
hey, you
dick.
got good muscles. And
Huge
shit like
bush
that.
in your face.
But instead, this dude is a mountain, dude. He's like fucking 3 of me and shit.
That's tough.
3 of me and a big dick.
But I'm telling you,
He just wants you. He wants to make love to you.
I'd
Look
get
straight in
myself
your
psyched.
eyes.
I'd get myself psyched up like a man, and I'd be like, I'm going to war. I'm going to war, and I'm
You go to
shutting it
dick
off.
sucking
I'm
training
just
camp?
shutting it all off, bro. I'm shutting it off. I'm going zombie mode. I'm a dick zombie.
I'm going to eat my way out of this.
Yep, I'm a dick zombie. I'm a cock zombie, and I'm going in there.
Cock zombie.
And at the end, of
I am
that,
diving headfirst in the cum trench,
Yep.
and I am just going to do it.
and I'll tell you something I might do for real. All bullshit aside, I might give 600 grand to my favorite charity. I might just find
a
a
smart
bunch
play.
of kids, and I might just go, you're going to college and you have nothing to worry
It's a
about.
smart play. It takes a sting out of anyone for the rest of their lives. Morning radio. Oh, let's talk about Brian Callen eating that dick for $2.5 million. And then somebody calls in and go, you guys are dicks. He gave $600,000 to charity. They're like, all right, I back off.
All right, let's
no, you
back
fucking back off. He's a goddamn American hero.
That's right. I just pull out like a whole roster of all the kids going to college right now. Well, why don't you talk to all these kids
With
going to
Sarah
Princeton?
McLachlan singing in the background.
There are as many kids going to college as single sperms entered my mouth that day. And
Yeah!
Would you make the same decision? It's just like an outcry.
I did it for education, motherfuckers.
in the arms of the angels.
And just have Brian,
Blackwood song.
I did suck a dick for $2.5 million. I did swallow. Okay?
I gave $600,000 to charity and I still have money left over.
I might give it all of it away. Knowing me, I'd be guilty about it, and I'd be like, I'm just gonna fucking
Guilty?
give it away.
What are you, crazy?
No, just
You've
like,
earned it.
Just
Yeah.
having all that.
Nah,
money.
you earned it.
It's only 2 hours. Big.
You're
deal.
allowed to have it after you've.
Oh, no, it's not.
You've earned that money. Every tip.
$2.5 million.
It's a night.
It's 24 hours of that
24
rump hole being
hours?
assassinated.
Then
Well, but it's one guy though, right?
yeah,
Maybe.
I'd do it.
But I'm saying, like, even if it's 24 hours, think
Yeah.
about how often can you fucking go again?
Oh, this guy's on coke, ecstasy. He's on dick pills, and
Oh,
he's just
shit.
like,
I didn't-
again.
I didn't
No, it's
think
a
about-
nightmare.
I didn't think about
it's
the
a
again.
nightmare.
Wait, what's he doing? Do that again.
Again. And you're all, bro, I'm exhausted.
He's
Look at
literally
his face.
a drill sergeant.
Look
right
at
there.
his fucking face. I gotta
Dude, you guys
record
are
that.
making us too comfortable. It's
true.
You act like the guys are like, how you doing? Did you get the money? Oh, I'm glad. Yeah.
Good
now, if you
point.
could just lay down, I'm going to massage your asshole to its tenderness and ready. And I'm just going to slide in. Is that okay with you? No. We're
What's he
talking
doing?
about a real savage here.
It's gonna
What's
be
he doing
aggressive.
again?
Well, it's too late.
Here's what I got.
It's too late.
I got a text from Brendan. He was on his way over,
Yeah.
and I just get this random text. He goes, he goes, I'm going to beat you up in your own house just for the fuck of it and stuff organic honey down your shitter. And I went, and I just didn't, all I did was I went, no. And he goes, be at your house in 20, still in the studio. I need food. Where you at? That's what I got after that. I was like, all right, great.
So it's almost like you're getting fucked without the 2.5 million. You're already somebody.
Honey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he owns you.
He threatens me.
Not even for the
he
night.
threatens me with aggressive
I was
gay.
frustrated.
Clogging your
What
plumbing.
else you got, Chin? This lady's balling, though.
She's going to be balling for sure.
Has a ass on her, that's for sure.
So Kendall Jenner teamed up with Pepsi, and they did this commercial.
Saw this.
Have you seen this, Kevin?
I've read the story, but this part is new where Pepsi has decided
just
to yank
yanked
the
it.
commercial.
Yeah,
Did you
got
see their
so much
apology?
backlash.
They're like, we misread and messed up when we aired this. We definitely didn't know what was going
Here's
on.
a
First,
sugar
yesterday,
drink.
they were digging in going, no, man, it's a message of peace, fuckers. And now they're like, yeah, we get it.
Have you seen the commercial?
No.
It's a long one, but it's basically
I've read the breakdown.
Oh, so you actually know what goes
I'm
on.
familiar with the
Yeah.
content.
It's
I just
people
didn't watch
marching,
it.
and then Kendall Jenner's like, you know what? I'm not going to model anymore. I'm taking this blonde
takes
wig
that
off.
wig
I'm
off.
going to smear my lipstick, and I'm going to walk there, and here's a Pepsi, the guard who's stopping us from marching, and then he drinks it, and everybody cheers. And it's like, whoa, Pepsi. If you don't get diabetes, you'll be free.
Pepsi's the answer to
'Cause
all
Pepsi's
our
great
problems.
for kids.
I hope someone remakes that with a black guy trying to offer a white cop a Pepsi. Like, get him! Just whoop his ass.
This
I
girl,
think they were
tweeted.
echoing that the image. There's a very famous image of a young lady and a.
Well, no, it was
and a
when it
police
was
officer. Is
during
that
the
it?
Vietnam War.
No,
when-
not that one.
when
The
those-
other, the
no,
more recent image is what they're talking about.
Well, when the protesters were putting flowers in the rifles of the
Yes.
National Guard.
Yes.
He's
That-
ta-
But
he's
that's
referring to
not, I'm
something more
referring to something
current.
that just happened
yeah,
fairly
yeah,
recently.
sorry.
Is what they said
Yes.
that the ad was kind of
Correct.
inspired by.
Well,
but you
yeah.
shouldn't the image they appropriated for their let's sell sugar water.
Yeah.
Was insanely politically incorrect. Like just tone deaf.
It
Let's
was
say.
just and also the other thing is somebody said tweeted this ad makes me want to drink a Coke.
Which I'm sure Pepsi wasn't hoping for.
So someone said, "Did Coke make this ad?"
Yeah, yeah, and Kendall Jenner probably isn't taken so seriously.
Good or bad for her career?
I don't.
Good.
I don't
in
much
the world
care.
she's in.
It's
In the world
content.
she's in, it's
just for the
good.
same fucking thing. I said you should fuck that guy for $2.5 million. Same thing. She's got something to talk about. She's,
She's
like,
got
oh my god.
71.5
She-
million Instagram followers. Something crazy.
Her sister Kylie is so insanely famous and has so much money. Just she has she doesn't have a skill or anything, but any girl in high school and middle school, that's their idol. She's on billboards. She sells out of her makeup in minutes. She has so much fucking money from it. But with this, like, it's such good publicity for her. Because otherwise, where else are you going to hear about Kendall Jenner?
Yeah, it's
so this
true.
is huge.
So
for
you
her.
know about the Kardashians? Who's the one who got all the plastic surgery?
all of them.
All of them.
Kylie's the big one. She went from unrecognizable. She went from this normal like white girl to this like blowout bombshell. Like face surgery, cheeks when she was 17,
What?
ass, titties, stomach,
Really?
everything.
How weird.
You wouldn't even recognize her. Not to say
At
Whereas
age
Kendall
17?
Jenner's more just kind of
more
a natural.
natural.
beauty.
She's probably had some face stuff done. But she's more natural.
Yeah.
And then obviously Kim, and then Courtney didn't have much, but Khloe's had a shitload.
Did Kim Kardashian have things done?
Oh yeah, that ass is not real, sir.
Come on, that ass is real.
Are you kidding me?
Not real.
It's got to be real.
Not
Really?
real. Mm-mm, not
I
real.
thought that was her whole thing in life.
No.
Was like, look at my. Really?
Yeah, not real. Sorry, fellas.
I don't.
Do you
believe it.
remember?
No, for a fact.
I mean, I know it's tough to remember because they've been with us as long as like cancer or poverty. The Kardashians will be with us always, and it feels like they've been with us since the beginning.
Yeah.
But do you remember when it wasn't her and it was like Paris Hilton?
Well,
Kim was Paris Hilton's stylist.
Yeah, yeah.
And then she would hold Paris Hilton's purse, like at red carpet stuff. And then people were like, who's that girl? She's kind of pretty. And they're like, oh, that's Robert Kardashian's daughter. Remember the film?
Were they friends, her and Paris?
Kind of. But
So
she
wait, Kim
worked for him.
Kardashian had a job?
Yeah, she was a stylist for Paris Hilton.
So she'd be the one going, you should wear this, you
Yep.
should get this.
And go in their closet and be like, you should rearrange it like this and match this with this.
So
And then she
she's a
looked up-
stylist who became
She's a stylist
internationally
who
world famous.
slept with a famous rapper,
Ray J.
and put it out there. And then she blew
That's
up
what
from
introduced
that.
her to the world.
They reshot scenes apparently.
They said her mom. Her mom
Hey,
was
way to
in
go,
on it.
mom.
Wait, what? I'm sorry?
They think
They
her
reshot
mom.
scenes for it.
Her
You have
mom
to get your
saw
consent
it.
for that. You can't just.
Oh, I'm sorry. So hold on. So it was going to be released?
Yeah. So what they said was that so the guy who I think owned Vivid said, look, it's out there, but why don't we reshoot the scenes? People are going to see it anyway. Kind of, it's going to get leaked. Why don't we reshoot scenes, make it awesome? You'll look great, and we'll make it tasteful and all that, and then you can release it. And she was like, okay. And that's what they did, apparently. That's from TMZ, from the guys at TMZ.
I've never
that
seen
I
it.
know.
It doesn't look like, is it just one single shot like a normal porn?
Yeah, no, it's like
Yeah.
it looks like a home video, but really well done.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way Ray J has the eyes of Kevin Smith directing. Like
That's
he
easy
has
to
a
have.
video like this.
I'm not known for the visuals, man.
Well, you shot that, and you've been very tight-lipped about it. And you did a good job.
You also shot that. Wow,
I
Goldbergs
was
on
there.
that. That's fantastic.
I shot that, and I shot while watching it because I was like, "Oh my god, people are having sex right in front of me." And even though I don't know who they are, this is hot.
You know what I love about you, the way you direct, that you do that a lot of guys don't do, is Kevin, before you do a scene, Kevin will be like, ladies and gentlemen, these guys are going to give it another shot. Brian Callen, Wendy McClendon, and he makes everybody clap, and
That's
then
it.
it's just great. He puts you in such a great mood, and then you do the
energy,
scene.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you did the Batman edition of Goldberg?
The Batman one, which airs tonight, and then I did the graduation episode, which is the season finale, which airs in a couple weeks.
Nice.
Yeah, I did the one.
I
that
didn't even
they
know you
brought me
did
back.
Batman one. I figured you do the.
Yeah, I didn't know I was going to be doing it. Matt Myra is a friend of mine who writes for the show. He was like, "Would you ever direct the Goldbergs?" And I was like, "Sure." And then later on, they told me it's going to be the Batman episode. I was like, "Oh my god, this is in my wheelhouse."
Hell yeah.
It's kind of sweet.
What else you got?
What I
Chase?
sunk to my what is it? I sunk to my training.
Sunk to the level of my training.
Sunk to the level of my training.
Keeps going.
Once I saw there was Batman on the script side, I was like, "Oh, I'm
You're
going to sink
in.
right to the level of my
Do you
training."
do you
right.
like the way? This is what I wanted to ask you. Do you like the way how comic book like superhero movies are going?
Yeah.
Do you see? I don't like
Yeah.
how realistic they're getting. Like how the Batman's like Batman Forever, Batman Returns. I love that gimmicky,
goofy stuff.
comic, goofy.
You get that
comic
in
book
Marvel.
world.
Marvel still has a sense of like, hey, we can have fun with this while still being serious and stuff. But the DC movies seem to be very just like they're playing it as if like we're trying to cure fucking cancer here, people.
Yeah.
This isn't fucking fun. This is
Yeah.
important. And I think them hiring Joss Whedon was a smart move. He's going to be doing this Batgirl movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy that's like, I think Suicide Squad was also a good move. Like,
Me too.
Laughs. Like,
Yes.
let people enjoy themselves.
It's
like
a comic book.
and it's like,
Deadpool is a classic.
oh my
example
god!
of that.
I mean, that's the movie everyone wishes they could fucking be. Have
That's the standard.
Have
It
it
was
all.
so good, and he is Ryan Reynolds is as a guy who's been doing this forever. He's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Is
like
there-
he's
is-
so talented.
He
there a-
sunk to the what is it? He sunk.
He
to
sunk to the level.
What
He
is
rose to the level of his
He
training.
rose to the level of his
He
training.
rose.
Is there a comic book story that you'd want to tell or that
I think there's a
wanna
great character that DC has called the Question, and it's normally like kind of noirish. The idea is this guy named Vic Sage, and he's like a TV news journalist and stuff. He's got this putty, pseudoderm it's called, and he puts it on his face, spreads it across his face, and his belt buckle has a gas in it, releases the gas. It makes the putty adhere to his face, so it gives him the appearance of having no eyes, no nose holes, no ear holes, no mouth. So he just looks like smooth fucking skin.
Oh wow.
I always thought that was unsettling. Like if you saw Batman in an alleyway, you'd be like, oh, "That's a choice," right before he beat you up and shit. But you would not be like, "I'm scared of you dressed like a bat." You'd be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
But if you saw a motherfucker with no features on his face
I'd be
coming at you
terrified.
like fucking swinging,
Terrified.
oh, I'd be like, "Look, you don't even have to give me $2.5 million. Throw my knees back, fuck me, look straight in my eyes, because
With your
now own me.
non-eyes.
Yeah, with
With
your
your
non-eyes.
non-eyes.
Because oh my god, I'm
So
terrified.
is that guy a superhero or a villain?
He is a good guy. He doesn't have really any powers. He's just kind of like a vigilante. He's like a Batman, but with no money or anything like that. So he's a good guy, presumably a good guy. But they depict him in like the animated series Justice League as kind of like a conspiracy theory nut, like a Fox Mulder or something.
That's kind of
like
cool.
It's a cool
You'd be a
character.
good, cool story there.
I wonder why they haven't done it. I know there's a bit of a question about whether they have all the rights to the character because they bought the character from an old comic book company called Charlton. When they bought those characters, there was no vision of the future of like, oh yeah, it would turn into a series.
but
or
if you
something
own
like
it,
that.
you own it, right? Or maybe when they bought it, it said just on.
It could be just for
Paper.
when they bought it. It could just be for like mediums that
Distribution
existed. Maybe
rights.
there was no terminology that said for mediums heretofore
Outside of-
uninvented.
oh, gotcha.
Like now I see that in paperwork, where people are like, for this, for film, TV, fucking radio, whatever, and any medium not yet invented. Which always gets me excited because I'm like, you mean there's something
More shit out there?
Yeah, something's coming. What is it?
Holograms?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking. It's got to
Yeah.
be like for that fucking all important hologram market and shit, where like you don't even have to go to the movies, just download it into your head and you just look at it.
Be sick. Have you been a fan of the Batmans, like the newer Batmans?
I do, yeah. I mean, of course, I loved all the Nolan stuff. I think Ben looks like a great Batman, and I think
Christian Bale more. Do you like Christian Bale more as a Batman than Ben Stiller?
it depends. Like the look, I favor Ben's look as Batman because he looks like Frank Miller's Dark
Yeah.
Knight Returns Batman.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that finally someone fucking put a voice modulator in the cowl so you don't have one of the world's greatest actors going like Christian Bale
That
did.
drove me
Yeah.
nuts. About
Him doing that Dolby voice. Ben's got it easier because it's gimmicked into his helmet that he just talks and then he put a voice effect on it.
Yeah.
So
Which is
that's
more believable.
way cooler too.
Way cooler.
And also in a movie theater, it allows you to like, I'm gonna throw his voice into that corner of the room, that corner of the room. You can
Oh,
fucking
gotcha.
do some shit with it that you can't do if a guy's just sitting there going. "Arr, arr, arr, arr." So I think Ben looks the part insanely well, but I think Chris Nolan's handling of the character, was probably the most interesting handling of that character we've ever seen cinematically.
I agree.
This current version of the Batman, as in Batman v Superman, I like it because it reminds me of my favorite iteration of Batman, but that particular representation was a little like, well, Batman doesn't brand people, and Batman doesn't kill people, and Batman wouldn't have tried to kill Superman.
Although the Dark Knight comic book, he was a lot darker. He was
darker, but that's a book that's like, it starts as a guy who's middle-aged story. It starts as a guy who's just like, oh, I'm fucking past my prime, and I'm out of the game for a while, and he's having a midlife crisis, and suddenly it draws him back into the suit.
Yeah.
So the next book is about rebuilding. Like, oh my God, I've got the suit back on. Maybe I can make a difference. It's no longer just a guy going through a midlife crisis. It's a guy going, maybe I can help. Maybe I can save people again. By the time you get to the third book, that guy becomes a threat to everybody else because he realizes he can be fundamentally effective again. And then by the time you get to the fourth book, the government tries to shut him down. And they do that by using the most powerful living weapon in the world against him, Superman. So in Dark Knight Returns, they don't fight because they're like, I fucking hate you and everything you stand for, you alien. They fight because they're forced into it. Like Clark keeps telling him, he's just like, I don't want to do this, Bruce.
It's a way better
They will
story.
send me for you one day, and I will have to do this. And Clark's just like,
send me for you.
Bruce is like, bring it on. And when it happens, I'll be ready.
Can you imagine? They will send me for you.
Ben Affleck stepped back as the director for this next one. Because he's like, it's such an important role. Like, I can't play Batman in direct. So he stepped out. They brought in Todd Feldman's boy. Yeah. Matt Reeves, who, and it's coming out, he did the Planet of the Apes.
War of the Planet of the Apes.
It's supposed to be
great.
I love Planet of the Apes.
Well, the new one that this guy did, it's supposed to be ridiculous.
He did the last one.
The last one,
this one.
Yeah.
And now he's
so
up
good.
next for Batman. Batman, it's called. Yeah, Matt Reeves. This is a guy who directed a movie called The Pallbearer back when I was at Miramax back in the day. And The Pallbearer is like a classic Miramax film. I think David Schwimmer was in it, Gwyneth Paltrow, and it's like real character study, kind of like comedy or something like that. And now my man is working on Planet of the Apes.
So
Batman. It's nuts.
Yeah, things happen quickly in Hollywood.
For some.
Yeah, for some. For some, brother.
I'm the guy that just watches those movies.
Yeah, me too. Next current event.
Last one is a happy story. A dog missing for 4 years returned to his owner's porch.
Oh my God, I'm going to cry.
And it's crazy because he could be lying, right? But
we need Sarah McLachlan for this.
just nonstop.
It's got a microchip, so it's actually his actual dog.
So he knows for a fact. It's not like just, it looks like my dog. It's like, it's you.
Some random German Shepherd showed up at his house, thinks it's his. This is, where'd the dog come from?
North Carolina.
To where?
Oh, they don't know where. I'm not sure they even looked into where he went.
3 blocks away all this time.
He's at the neighbor's house. This is
like, I just got tired of this asshole.
They made a People magazine too.
You guys, you ever get tired of these people?
That's so cool.
With that chip that's in his neck, he couldn't have tracked him down prior to this,
right? Isn't that why they have it?
Yeah.
I don't know how that works out.
Unless he was storing data. Can they take that chip and find out where he was?
That chip's not a tracking device. That chip is actually for the pound to see if you've been vaccinated, and usually your
will it have information on it though?
Well, your address would be there, yeah, but you can't track the dog.
Why not?
How silly is that?
How can my kid track my kid on her fucking iPhone?
Because you need a beacon. You need something that's.
But why wouldn't those
tower.
things have that?
It's hard to when you put them under the skin. It's hard to
the signal to get out.
Yeah, they don't really work. We don't have that yet, really.
Man,
nothing
you just
that's
shit
reliable.
on American ingenuity.
It has to have a battery.
Although, you know what?
Down.
You didn't shit on it. You said yet. Good point.
You did say yet.
We don't have it yet.
Like
You're a hopeful guy, Brian. Don't let anybody
something that
tell
little.
you
You need something that's going to have
But you think you'd be able to track their location or
it's
something
got to send
like
a
that.
signal. You need a signal. You need a radio signal that it's going to emit constantly.
So
or
let me
have
ask
a
you this.
receiver.
This chip that's under their skin, do they have to pull it out to read it?
No, you do a scan of it. So with my dog, they put a chip under the skin,
Right.
and they have a scanner. It's pretty cool.
Like,
yeah, and then they can tell if the dog has been. It's called microchipping. You microchip your dog.
Nobody scanned this fucking dog for 4 years?
I don't.
He's walking around going, somebody fucking scam me and get me back to my owner.
My guess is the dog was probably taken in by a neighbor.
And
somebody
got
was
away?
like, yes, and somebody said, "I want this dog."
I didn't know for
That's
sure,
what
but I
think.
thought it, said the owner, McDonald. And she just came and put her head on my lap and said, oh my.
Oh my!
Wait, who said oh my? Dog?
Now the dog can also
Because
talk.
the story is not dog came back. The story is talking fucking dog discovered in
Right?
North Carolina.
I always think about that one chimpanzee that hadn't seen the carnival chimp that hadn't seen its owner in like 5 years, and it learned it had sign language, so you can teach them sign like "come tickle me" and all that stuff. And the way I heard the story was when he saw his owner, he
ripped
said
his face
he was,
off
no,
in
he was in a
hands?
sanctuary, and he said, "Where have you been? I've been so worried about you."
Damn, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Are you fucking?
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry.
Because they taught him what worry meant, which
Hit
was
that Sam
agitated,
McLaughlin,
which was
Kevin.
anxious.
Oh, yeah, play that
Are you
Sam
feeling
McLaughlin.
anxious? You know, like, and they taught him
Wait.
what that means. Like, I don't feel good about this. He said, "Where have you been? I missed you. I've been
Damn.
worried about. Yeah."
Would you, there's that
Makes you
dog.
wanna cry.
There's that
That
dog.
is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh my God, that's like the most beautiful thing I heard today. That makes up for the death by donuts thing,
Yep.
which I was going to carry around like a fucking cross for the rest of my
I
life.
give that
It was
to you in
heavy.
the end.
It was heavy.
You
Is
light
that
my
it,
heart
Chin?
with that.
That's it, man.
Boom, man.
We're done.
I think
Kevin
so,
Smith,
brother.
man.
You're a beast,
Good
man.
being here, man.
Oh, I got a quick dropping knowledge
great,
for you
man.
guys, real
Fire.
quick. What percentage of the Earth's the Earth is covered with 70% water, right? Roughly.
The other
you know how much of
30%
that,
spiders.
You know how much of the rest is spiders. You know how much of that water is actually salt water.
Percentage wise,
Yeah.
you're looking for a percentage?
Yeah.
Percentage?
A percentage of what percentage?
Yeah. What percentage is salt water? What percentage is fresh water?
90%
90% salt water? What would you say?
ocean water.
I'm gonna go 65 ocean, and then how much? What do I got left? How many bagels do I get left?
Yeah, you get,
It's like
you get
putting together
35%. So 35%. So the answer is it's roughly 97% salt water, 3% is fresh water. Now, what of that fresh water is actually on the surface of the globe and not in the ground?
Less than 1%.
0.3%. Is actually the rest is either in ice or snow or under the ground.
So this is why we should be investing heavily in water futures.
Always in water futures.
Except I just read an article online about we know the miraculous substance graphene.
No.
That it's like fucking the size of half of an atom or fucking a quarter of an atom, but it's stronger than like an elephant or steel or anything.
wow.
So it's it's also it can like they think it's going to be the future technology, like all
Like for
hardware is
metal
going to
and
go
stuff,
away.
yeah.
Like your phone, they're saying will be a roll-up device that you just plug inside your ear because graphene can hold technology, can hold the charge.
It's the new silicon chip.
Yes.
Where do you find it? Where do they find it at?
They have to make
Your
it,
butt.
and the thing is, they come right out your ass. No, you have to make
guys
it.
10 years
it
old?
takes a long time, and then they said they couldn't. They were trying to figure out there's some uses for it. One point of the story, they figured out a way to desalinate salt water with graphene because it creates this ultra filter
Yep.
that salt can't pass through. So if that's the case, and it's a game changer because that means that 97% you can now turn it into drinking water as opposed to salt water.
And that's,
That's
where we're
really
headed.
amazing.
That's where we are.
I got my graphene sieve in
I'm gonna
case
start investing in
in
it.
case order breaks.
You know what the
down.
graphene? You know what they make a cum trench out of? Graphene.
I know that.
Do it.
Strong enough to
Full
hold.
circle.
Talk about full
I think
circle,
we
ladies and
end
gentlemen.
there.
That's
Ladies
a
and gentlemen,
closer.
Kevin Smith, the great Kevin Smith.
Thank you for having. Excellent
Thank
being
you.
here.
What a great conversation.
Thanks.
What a
This is the Fine Kid with Kevin Smith. We're out.
You're awesome.
Great show.
That was
That was
fun.
fucking a great show.
The best, man.
That was good times, man.